Jean Ordenfall spent his childhood on his family's farm, just south of the Duvet Forest. His parents, Derlin and Macy, had raised him well, teaching him what he needed to know to one day take over. Financially, they did quite well for themselves, carting their crops to nearby towns and cities for sale, although the frigid weather that often surrounded their home did not make it an easy life. As is the case with most youngins living the farm life, John eventually sought to see what else the world had to offer, and so he left in search of what opportunities the neighboring city had for him. It wasn't long before he realized the city life was not his to live. The boy who left, though, had become a man, and the man had met a woman, a blacksmith's daughter by the name of Cerithia. They fell for each other quick, and before they knew it, their love blossomed into a marriage and a son. The son they named Derlin, after Jean's father. Jean eventually returned home to his parents' farm with his family, where they made a life for themselves, a new life for his wife and son, but one all too familiar to Jean. They were happy, that is, until the day vile creatures from beyond the veil made their way into their home. After being driven from his homeland by the insatiable undead that now plague it, Jean seeks out those brave enough to aid him in cleansing his land of the foul fate that befell him and his family, and exacting the vengeance he so eagerly thirsts for.
As a young child, Celeste Highcrest wouldn't have dreamed of leaving the sheltered life of luxury that she had become accustomed to. Born to two noble parents in a land beyond the veil, Celeste's childhood had been fraught with expectation. Her father, High Archivist Saran Highcrest, had set very high standards for his two children. The elder of those two elves, Celeste's sister Cressida, had surpassed all of them. Saran trained his two daughters in the art of magic and history, a respected wizard himself. Cressida had leaned into this as easy as breathing. Celeste, however, had struggled, fighting the shadow of her sister's success. She never quite met the expectations of her family, and was always the object of her father's disappointed glances. When the sisters came of age, they sat the entrance exam to join their father at the archives, to be mentored under his tutelage, and to be admitted to the sanctum of archives to scribe ancient texts and tomes. Cressida, to no one's surprise, surpassed all expectations and gained entrance. Celeste, however, held true to her long-standing tradition of always being second best, and was rejected. It was rare that one of her status should choose to leave the homeland, but never being able to escape the overshadowing of her sister, the youngest elf decided it was time to break free of her family and forge her own path. If she remained here, she would always be Cressida's sister, nothing more. But if she were to leave this place behind, perhaps she could prove herself as her own person. She found her way, eventually, to a hidden doorway, a portal to the material plane, and stepped through. She found the world familiar, yet strange. She walked, realizing now that whatever she had left, whatever power, had been left behind her. She boarded the first ship she came across, bound for the kingdom of Quell. Celeste travelled for years, traversing oceans between continents, desperate to find something worthy enough to bring home to her family as a tribute. But eventually the news reached her. When she had crossed into this world, the doorway had closed behind her, locking and leaving her stranded, with an entire universe between her and her home and family. And now, Celeste wanders and waits, desperate for answers that will lead her home again.
Drekik Yorksan, a white dragonborn who grew up in the area of Utevshal in Ogralan. My father was the Earl of Kriegsgard. The area was heavily contested by the opposing threat from Uzan Karul and the Blood Renderer. When I was 7, our village was attacked, and my mother was lost to us. My father, disappointed in my lack of strength and unable to care for me, gave me to the priests. They raised me and taught me the ways of the gods. It was here I studied the best I could, But as I stared for hours over books and scrolls, the markings could never seem to make sense. The occasional word I could read, but most were lost to me, due to this dreaded curse in my eyes, making the world seem blurred. It was only through listening and paying attention to the prayers and the ways of the priests that I was able to memorize the ways without ever needing to learn to read properly. After 8 years of service, my father returned for me, saying that it was time for me to return and defend my clan. I never liked war. The killing and bloodshed did not appeal to me as it did my father and brother. One night, I tried to make peace with the enemy by healing their wounded and sick, but I was betrayed. It was in this way that the village on the border of Iswalan was run over, and I was banished from my home to walk a path of shame for the rest of my days.
Hello. You're a cheeky looking fella. What are you up to? Oh, I think you must be a sheep. Come join us by the fire. I've got a friend here. He's a fox. Yeah. Have some of that. Oh, that looks yum. My name's Ingwe. This is my first day here. First day out here. Yeah, fox. Nice. Yeah, my tribe, we tell the stories of the world. And when we're old enough, like me, ready, they reckon, we head out into the world and go on a quest, adventure. Well, that's what I want to do. I want to do a quest or adventure. Some people just, like hang with people and listen to their stories. But I think I want to do something exciting. That's my plan anyway. But you never know what's going to happen. I mean, I've lived 300 moons, but everything's so different out here. Like, you guys can't talk. Wow, I'll figure it out. I'll figure out how to get you guys to talk to me, because this is a pretty one-sided conversation at the moment. Here, nice. It's a one-sided conversation because you're a sheep and you're a fox. Anyway, so as I was saying, we head out into the world and try and find some stories and try and meet some people. Some people like you could be the people, although you're pretty quiet. You could be the people that I meet and take back, and you can hang with me and my tribe, and we can tell stories. It's about a fire, Does that sound like a good idea? No, you probably already have someone to hang with. Oh well. Well, you're friendly enough as it is. So, the other thing we got to find is, got to get a scar. Some people have, like, emotional scars, but, you know what, I'm real keen to, like, get a cool one, like, on my shoulder, maybe, like a leg scar. Yeah, that'd be good. And then, see how we're going. The magic out here is weird. They did say that it'd be hard. Must be back home, must be the, the elders. They're pretty tight, those guys. They have to be pretty firm on the rules. So I'm pretty keen to come out here and try some different things. We're allowed to do whatever we want out here in the world. Just whatever takes our fancy. And then be ready when we go home to, be all tight like the elders and follow the rules. Be pretty lawful, be good, that sort of thing. Well, it's been nice chatting to you. Come closer. That's alright. Nice and safe by the fire.
Whoop, whoop,
Hello,
whoop, whoop,
we are
whoop.
back once again for once.
Greetings.
There we go. We just
I
barely
just
saw
see
us
the
up.
overlays.
We just saw us up there.
Oh, hats.
Yeah, look at that. Everyone has a tinfoil hat now, including your
Woo.
avatar.
Why?
There you go.
Why does I look so faded and crap?
You're sick. You need to get out into the sun more, I think.
Are we talking about you or your avatar now?
Me. I just looked at myself on the stream.
Yeah, don't do that. It's like looking in the mirror sometimes. Well, welcome back, everyone, to another interesting episode of Monsters Mayhem, where we talk about shit and we recap and try to quell the emotional trauma. First announcement is that you should join a Discord because that's what the cool people do. And if you don't have the right kind of Snickers, you'll get picked on in school. And Monsters Mayhem is the right kind of Snickers. So there you go. Straight onto the Discord. That's it. Now we have a great community where you can share your food, you can share what pets you have, you can talk about Dungeons and Dragons, you can play Dungeons and Dragons, you can play computer games, you can win prizes sometimes, you can ask for technical support sometimes if you are trying to do something yourself, or have questions about Dungeons and Dragons, or you like terrain or AI art or whatever. It is all something that we can accommodate. And we have lots of people in there who are just welcoming. It's like a safety net. So as soon as you land in there, you're just going to get caught immediately by a bot and then obviously banned. But that's a whole different scenario. So definitely do that.
And a recent promo as well within the Discord. So one of our moderators is now running. So Space Guy now runs our community game nights, which is really cool.
Yes.
So thank you very much to Space Guy for taking on that responsibility. And they should be a lot more awesome now that it's not me running them. So
it helps tremendously.
I trust the in good hands.
But Laura, you ran them so well. It was so good.
Yes. I mean, we will still be jumping in. We just won't be running them as much.
Yeah,
as
I fully
random.
intend to still be there on Tuesday nights.
Yes. It's not that we don't want to do that. It just helps that we have one specific person who's in charge of that specific thing. Kind of like being a general, but just don't tell them that.
Congratulations, Captain Coordinator, sir.
Captain Coordinator. All right, Mike.
Captain Space Guy.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
Your duty is admirable.
No, he's not an admiral. Never mind. Anyway, that was enough.
And that's the stream.
Tomfoolery, as it's interestingly enough called. So tonight we're going to be doing another one of our recap episodes. But before we start, we have a little bit of a teaser that I would like to start showing, and I will show it a little later too, for something Halloweeny upcoming.
Who's
maybe Halloweeny. So stick with us for 2 seconds, and I'll show you something cool.
Ooh.
Was pretty fucking cool, wasn't it? We definitely had fun playing it and getting lost in the game. That
definitely
is
fun.
something you can look forward to
Yep.
on next Monday, I guess. Is it already next Monday?
So
Jesus.
we'll be streaming it this Saturday night. So this Saturday night, so it's split into 3 parts. So we've got the first act on Saturday night at 7 p.m., second act on Sunday night at 7 p.m., and then the final act on Monday night at 7 p.m. So it's kind of like a 3-day running. Thank you so much to everyone who played along for the full 12 hours that it took to record the thing.
It's not the longest I played D&D, I'll tell you that, but it was good.
So it was,
Contender.
it was a very long session, so thank you very much. And we also had a couple of guests as well join us from the Discord who came in to play the one shot. So thank you very much to them. And yeah, looking forward to streaming it.
It
It's
is
dope. It's dope.
amazing as always. Laura is the master of Halloween, so just wait and see. It will
And
be
of course,
spooky.
it will of course be going up on our YouTubes as well afterwards, correct?
Yes,
So-
correct.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So if you miss it, we have, you can always come back and watch it on Twitch as well. But we'll be uploading them on Tuesday to the Twitch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, to the YouTube, I mean.
Words. We do words.
I'm
in here.
still sleepy, you guys.
I'm still sleeping. What's next? Okay. That is probably the end of the announcements. Now we can get into the nitty-gritty of all the bullshit we've been doing for the last few weeks. So, just to make it a little cozy, I will put in a little bit of background music. This time, not scary. Don't worry. It will
I
be
don't believe you.
jazz music in the background, just because we're having a little casual chat about death, destruction, and emotional damage. So,
Emotional damage.
first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the GIFs I made. Because we can have them in the background while we do other things, surely.
Oh, you got us gifts?
Without the tea,
Aw.
yes.
Ah,
Some of them are more funny than others, but I also homemade them. I have baked them in the oven myself. So, there they are for you to enjoy during the stream. So, let us begin with some recaps. So, episode 41, The Plot Thickens. Do anyone have any notes from that session?
I have notes. Whether or not they're good is another question entirely, but I do have notes. And the plot did indeed thicken this episode as well.
yeah.
All right. So, so leading into this episode, I think we were back in King's Hell.
Yes. I want to say that the very first thing that happened that's important to notice that it was Narakto's birthday.
Yes.
I forgot. Oh, yes.
Because that's super important for the plot line. Sorry.
Oh, that's
Go on.
right. I got notes for this session.
So I believe this episode we started off after being ambushed after the art gallery. This started off in Rokan's cell underneath the Karameshi estate. So leading into this, episode 41, the plot thickens. Jean transformed in his cell and busted out. And then moved on to bust everyone out of their cells. And I have in brackets, Celeste was last, even though she inspired him. But that's fine, that's neither here nor there. We found the body of Carstine Chimera, and there was notes behind him written in blood that said, "You will never find it," which were written on the wall behind him where he was hanging in his cell, which is at the end of the hallway from ours. Then I assume we had a fight and something happened. I vaguely remember that, but there were no notes about it. But I have here, a wizard teleported us away from the jail.
That is
So-
very correct. You saved you from a dragon, a black
Yes.
dragon that I realized afterwards actually never entered the camera view. So there was a black dragon, but no one could see it except for me. But I enjoyed it.
It was there in spirit. The fear was there in spirit.
We imagined
I could have saved $900 on a mini. Kidding, it wasn't that big.
Then we woke up in what seemed to be an infirmary in a secluded compound. I can't read my own words, my own writing.
That's not an option.
Oligard Webster has a ponytail.
Yes.
Yep, cool. Matthias
It's not
Borg
wrong.
is a human.
Yep.
Devon. Grandmaster Devon Denozo decapitated a dragon's head, and then I've got in brackets, that's badass, which is underlined. Valentina carried a life sensor, which I assuming is the thing that they had on them to track, like the people that saved us were also in bed with Valentina methodically, and could track her life. Trying to prevent a disaster, which I'm assuming is the group. The organizations are called the Pillar of
Karedi.
Karedi. Thank you. Knights of the Assembly are hunting Rokan, and the organization is in a floating city above King's Helm.
Yes, it is visible to the naked eye.
Naked.
Is that what you got from that?
What?
Yeah.
We all nicky.
Alright. Ming is part of the party of 5. Veylan is the High Paladin of Larrick, and Julius Greenwater.
Yes. It was the wizard.
Julius said, as we were leaving, "We've sighted your daughter." And Devon replied, "What is she up to this time?" We also got a dagger +2, a ring of protection, a component pouch, a crystal sphere. There's also a clock tower in the compound called the Tower of Remembrance.
Yes, that is correct.
So that I'm sure everyone knows exactly what happened during that episode. We're all caught up.
Perfect.
Everyone is very well informed now with exactly what happened.
Can I just add that
Glad that's
in
over.
creating Ingwe, Tom and I had a conversation about like a magic, like you know how we had our magic items, and that like Valentina's magic item was like, and we had lots of chats, but I'm claiming that as a maybe it's just a thing that's real common life sign checkers, but that was going to be my magic item for my like the elders can track where you are.
Well,
Then I
to
changed.
clarify, they did mention that a former member of theirs had insight into the situation. And that's where they got this from.
Came from the Furbolgs. Yeah. Extra insight. I thought it was just random, but it is.
Nothing is random in my head except for everything.
I really. That's why these sessions are so important too. Like, just remember everything that we say. Tom is writing it down and we'll use it as content.
No. I left that in the fairly vague on purpose because I didn't want it to be too obvious. Because at that point, potentially, you weren't going to find out about your mom being employed by them. You didn't find out until later.
Yeah, cool.
So, no, all good.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much what I have on my notes for that one specifically. That you met Devon Denoso and he had issues with his daughter apparently. The dragon was killed, it seemed, by Julius of all people. Yeah, pretty much.
I think though the only thing that Laura didn't say was talking about a prophecy. And
yeah, so he did mention the prophecy. He knew what you guys were all about now. He knew what you were doing.
That we were prophesized.
Yes. He also said there's always another prophecy.
There's always another prophecy.
There's always more prophecies. It's always like doomsday.
There's always another one.
It's like watching another Marvel movie. There's always someone trying to destroy the world. But
that episode I think was like a real turning point for us in like deciding like what is the plan like going forward. I think we really took that time to like when we weren't under attack or there were no immediate threats to like really take some time and have a discussion as a party about like what are the next steps in actually resolving this prophecy and actually getting ahead of it rather than always being 2 steps behind. Like let's actually try and plan out, not that it worked, but let's actually try and plan out like what the next moves are.
Yes, you're correct. There was a safe place you could finally sit down and have a conversation.
Did
I
we
do
figure
feel
out
like
what
in
the
these last 10 episodes though, we've done more for the prophecy than the previous 30?
Yeah.
I mean, technically yes, because you did end up getting one of the keystones or getting key pieces at least. So technically,
Did we figure out what the key was for?
So
Yes.
you were told originally that you had to assemble a key to open the gates to this labyrinth.
Oh yeah, so we didn't get a key. It's like
No.
it was description in my notes are just incomplete.
So it's part of a key for opening that, and
That's
that
why
was
we're
something
hunting
you
the key
needed a long
shards.
time. Yeah, so you need the key shards to open the door to whatever labyrinth this is, and you have the map tattooed on your bodies, strangely enough. And then the last clue is that you need to find a hammer to destroy the book, and you need to find the door to open.
Lots of things to find.
Yes,
Just a
yeah,
bit.
treasure hunt. But yeah, I think that was pretty much what I had for this episode too. There was a lot of talking back and forth between you guys about what you wanted to do and specific situations, and I think that's cool.
They also offered us an invitation to join their
That's true.
organization as well.
But you didn't
Said
say
fuck
yes.
I think we did I?
Not in this episode. I think we said
Oh.
no this episode.
Yes, you did say no in this episode, and I don't think you said yes. So that is the no for now.
No, Ingwe said yes. And
Yeah, but-
everyone else said no.
Yeah,
Drake said yes.
Why? Well, we'll talk about the next episode.
We'll talk about it when it comes.
fair enough. Next episode is episode 42, Long Rest.
Oh yeah.
I think this is my best noted one. So
Your time to
can
shine.
I have
have
3 notes
5
myself. Well, who has the most notes? Is that Narocta with his 5 notes?
I mean,
so-
I've got a few.
This is the episode that Ingwe notices that Jean has a tadpole, and it was kind of like he noticed at the end of the last episode, and then Tom like dropped that on us at the start, and then was like messaging me. He's like, "Do you know what a tadpole is?" I was like, "Of course I know what a tadpole is." No, I'm new to D&D. I didn't know what a tadpole was. Jacob didn't know what a tadpole was. Neither did Ingwe.
No, he
And then
doesn't.
we figured it out as the episode has gone on. And both Drakic and John were cursed.
Yes.
Celeste talks to Barrow, who thinks he's Morrison. So just a continuation of
Beginning
the
of Blightwood drama.
confused Blightwood drama. And then we talked about options. So we talked about options was because this was the episode where we like spent a bit of time just talking about what we'd like to do. There was a lot of equivocation from John around not telling us about Lily. So our options that we had before the break were Rokan, King's Helm, Chase the Hammer, the Alleyman Slasher, go straight to the door, figure out how to get on the fire plane, and figure out how to get to the Underdark.
Yes. Small things all put together.
Then quickly I have like a description of the town. There's a hospital, Tower of Remembrance, churches built into each other. Oh, that's right. So Larrick, Rex, Liana, there was no Archidron in that like octahedron church that we went to visit.
No.
But the person that we spoke to, Drakic asked about his curse. And he said, "You're cursed to live a horrible afterlife. If you die, you will come back undead." I'd forgotten about that.
Yes.
It
Both
was
John and Drakic have something going on, which is
I don't know
specifically
where I
for
got this
them
curse from.
extremely bad, considering they're going to Vigar when they die. But
Or are they?
they're not if they come back as undead.
Not anymore.
So that's the thing.
Oh, I'd forgotten we haven't unpacked that curse. I've just been so worried about Lily the whole time.
Well, I'm not going to mention where you got it from, but I can definitely say that both of you failed a wisdom saving throw at one point.
Right.
I have an
Is-
idea, I think, maybe.
As a tower
Go
with blue
back through the
smoke,
things.
a block of houses, order building, training, exercise area. Oh, that was a missed opportunity. That would have been fun.
You thought anything you wanted.
Yeah. Legacy
not
of Darkness. Help investigate and defeat evil as it spreads. She was hired to be an assassin. I think that's my mum. Last we heard, she went through a portal to the fire plane to chase down an individual, Count Klaus Fabricius.
Klaus Fabricius.
Had an estate in Liguera. Dadek Jorgsen hired to kill him.
Yes.
Dun, dun, dun.
Interesting.
Damn you, Jorgsens. Then I'm not sure. Celeste gives everyone silver little weapons. Is that next episode?
No, that's
Yeah.
It's part of this episode because you were going down to shop.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. We went down to shop and we're like disguised, and there was that whole romantic thing with the like.
Show me that for you. I'll meet you.
Beautiful.
Yes, I'll come back, darling. Let's go. Let's go. I just left some guy heartbroken.
He's still waiting.
With his rotisserie chicken on a picnic blanket.
Yes.
Oh, I would hate to go back to that city and be transformed into an old lady and just have that whole encounter forgotten. Tom will find a way to make it happen, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, he was so heartbroken that when you went to the future, he literally was still just sitting there on a blanket with his
Just
think
roasting
this
his
is-
chicken
well
over the
around
lava,
him.
just like one day she'll turn up.
roasting it over Dendron.
Just like, this world is like my heart broken.
There's nothing left to live for, but nothing worth dying for either. Anyway, yes, that is very correct. That is one of the notes I have. Noctu flirts for glasses.
I have glasses now. So good.
So then the only other note I've got is to break the veil. There's 4 pillars of floating obelisks, and I've also got Vartex. But then I don't have any notes, which I remember that like Ingwe was talking to Vartex, which is why I didn't write any notes.
So that's the next episode, I think. I think that's the
Oh,
Wavering
okay.
Winds episode.
Yeah,
I
dude,
So I've got a
those-
bunch of notes for that.
I think
That.
you did with Vartex then, but you also briefly spoke to him in this episode. According to my notes at the very beginning, apparently you were like, "I'm just going to the bathroom," and then you went to the bathroom, but then you also went and spoke with Vartex to speak to him about the tadpole to see what he knew.
Yes,
Uh,
and that's
Speaking
why
of which-
Underdark's on our list.
yeah.
I now know what a D&D tadpole is. I didn't know before.
You didn't name it.
And the other thing I have is not so much you visiting Vartex, but rather mentioning Vartex in front of Devon, who seemingly showed recognition.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, because that's when you realized there was a whole department of the library devoted
Yeah.
to Vartex alone.
Which we do in the next episode.
So the only notes I have left here is concerns about Sean, which I think has been covered. Shopping incognito and Naruto flirts for glasses. That's the notes I have. I'm not sure if anyone has anything else to add to that.
The bar was called the Hopeless Hope.
That is correct.
And
got
I
the
have
name.
my armor written down here as well. The Cushioning Blow, which was
Yes.
the armor that I was gifted from, because we were all gifted something, I think, from the
Yes.
Oh, what were we gifted?
You were all given items. You were given a belt that used to be your mum's.
I got my boots.
Is
There
this
you
where I
go.
got that amulet?
Yes.
Oh, this is the belt. Oh, that's a really handy, useful item. That's been very handy.
Yes.
I also have the name of the silvered weapons that were gifted to us by one Celeste.
Yep.
Oh, she gave us names. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently. Or from
Bob
what
and
I've
Jack.
got here, Morning Stars were called Himriel. The axe was Arador. And the darts were Torgrave. Yeah. Woo!
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. I think that's the end of our notes for that episode, unless someone has anything to add. So next one is episode 43, The Wavering Winds.
This is where we find out more about Lily, isn't it?
This is where you
And
go to the
Vartex.
library and have a day.
Oh, the library, yes. I read about how to cook tadpoles. I remember that.
You didn't roll very well. Who has some good notes for that one, if any?
I got a fair few for 43.
Oh, go for it.
I have nothing for 44. I have a couple for 43.
Do you want to do 43 and then I'll do 4?
I'll try do 43 and then you pick up. So I've just got Lily is called Asmalia. And Asmalia was a Titan, the first wife of Asmodeus. Became tired of the other gods, and the other gods had to take her out. Not for dinner, I'm assuming. She killed 7 gods before finally being taken down, and her mortal body was destroyed. One god who defeated Lily was Aethia. Greenshore Vale has an entry to the Underdark through the Vale Mine, and Bavarian Wilds has an entry to the Underdark. And then we traveled away to the mountain. And that's my notes.
Yeah.
Yeah? I've got a few more.
Yep.
But I've got some. Start off with a conversation about who to kill and when regarding Jean and Drekic's curse.
This conversation again.
Which I don't remember when that took place, but I'm assuming when Jean and Drekic were there. Celeste and Drekic discuss how Celeste feels regarding being unable to say goodbye to her parents and a newfound mistrust in Jean. Because I believe the last episode ended with Lily coming out, and then we started the episode with Lily chatting and actually engaging or something. Maybe?
I think that was later.
Okay.
I think that was when you arrived at Kronos, where she was literally saying hello to everyone. That was the first time everyone met her. I believe.
Because Ingwe did
Ingwe poked
detect thoughts.
Yeah,
and then she was just like, everyone can hear me now.
I think you were poking in this episode, and I think some of you were feeling something try to delete your memories, but it didn't quite work because everyone's wisdom saving throws are like 950, and I can only roll 940.
This was the beginning of her starting to push out or something.
Yeah, that's the first agitation of where you try to poke.
Because I've got a note here saying John feels Lily press against his skull and seeks to take control. Jean lets her in the hopes of being freed. Jean also tells the party that sure he's got a tadpole, but he's fine for now. So yeah, this was also where Corny Pop was first made. Corny Pop. Gang research mind flares. Chatting with Julius, Celeste, and Drekic, they mention the tadpole, to which he says he's unsure how to help. Julius mentions a lead on where to find in the Underdark, stating mind flares can be found there. Julius suggests an entrance to the Underdark, which they gave us 2, one in Greenshore Vale, one in the Bavarian Wilds. Celeste then mentions Jean's name offhandedly, Julius realizing it was him with the tadpole. Then I've got the gang agrees to go to the mountain next. Celeste and Ingwe head back down to Kingshelm. That was to do a second round of shopping, I believe, or something to that effect. Celeste to speak with Kina regarding an entrance to the Underdark, while Ingwe sought the attention of the king to read the Book of the Dead from his personal collection.
Yes,
Celeste speaks with Kina. Yep. And she suggests a few parts. First is in Sarova, near the Patra of Mera. There is a cave with an illusion concealing it. Or the second gets sidetracked in the rest of the conversation, hinting, oh, yeah, we never got the second, I don't think.
Yeah, we did, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, you did? Okay. And there was a town crier who also called out Ludak retaken without resistance, many guards dead, even more civilians. Break-in to Registry of Maritime Law. Sons of Flumph, my familiar is my brother, new song, new hit. Karameshi State for Sale, Contact, and I missed the name of Kingshelm. And then Aaron Crimsonright wanted for murder, 1,500 gold pieces, dead or alive.
Yes.
That is halfway through my notes. um,
That's good.
Yeah, keep going because I've actually got quite comprehensive notes for this.
oh hell yeah!
You haven't said any of the things that I've written.
Oh, there you go. Perfect.
Like, I haven't written any of the things you've written, which is a problem. But you haven't said any of the
We're
things that
working
I've written.
together to get all the notes.
I'm literally the same. I'm like going through. I'm like, oh, you missed this. Oh, you missed this bit. Oh, you actually. Missed this.
Some of these like previously when we've done this, it's like, oh yeah, Chirok has all the notes, and we're just like the humorous people that have taken a little bit of notes. But I think this episode was like so dense that it's like I have focused on the things that I like. There's too much
There's
stuff.
things that have been missed. Yeah.
I just get so absorbed in the story that I forget to take the notes.
That's fine too. You can always have these conversations when we're having these recap episodes.
Yeah. That's what this is
Good.
cool.
Yeah. I've also got that Celeste reminds Ingwe of Derlin's friend, who then remembers that Abelladon was searching for his wife and daughter. Vartex and Ingwe have a chat. He mentions he was around when, and I missed something, was taken down by Aethia, and says it was probably his fault. Because
Asmalia.
of course it was his fault.
Asmalia.
Oh, that was
Asmalia.
Asmalia.
He was around when she died, or she got taken out at least.
Added to the notes.
He's a pretty old fucker. Like, he has a really high pension.
Yep. Ingwe then takes the fox pups out and keeps them in his room, then casts Detect Thoughts to see if Lily wants to chat. Suddenly, Ingwe feels a slight scratch on his dome, and a trickle of blood runs down the side of his forehead. Ingwe then tries to sneak into Jean's room and accidentally wakes him. He's super nice and kisses his forehead. Jean becomes rather untrusting and locks himself in his room once Ingwe leaves by barring the door with a chair. Jean inquires with Drekik regarding Ingwe's intentions, but Drekik is unsure. They meet with Julius and ask to be sent to the base of Mount Valor. We head inside, the bodies of snake-human hybrids laying in rot by the pit of lava. A smell of decay drifts through the air. 4 handprints in the wall, 1 red, 1 green, 1 yellow, 1 blue, of which we each take 1. Ingwe yellow, Drekik green, Jean blue, Celeste red.
Next time I won't color coordinate anything because that took like 45 minutes for you to pick which color to pick.
Which one do we take?
Wait. Can we, before we go into that,
Yeah.
can we go back to the library stuff? And also, I would like to character clarify. Maybe I shouldn't. No, I think I should. I think there's value. I think there's value in that. So, in the library, we've also got some stuff around Drekik's place, which was doppelgangers, changelings, werewolves, and there's one that's alluded to for 1,000 years, the Amorials. Amorials. I think that's important in that before we move on to the exciting adventures in the. This episode is packed.
Yeah,
that's
it's
like
because
in my mind.
Because you went looking for knowledge in the library for the first time. There's so many things you went looking for that it was just like
lore.
So that's quite quick when you dump lore. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. And so, is there anything else that we found out in the library that anyone else has notes on?
So I've got here, while we were researching Vartex, a lot of things came up in the wake of destruction, essentially, around this person that they, believe was Vartex across 850 years to maybe 1,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
So there were literally massacres of entire cities. There were wars going up against, cities going up against each other in war led by, Vartex, or the person they believed to be Vartex. Lots of missing people. He was a false idol, encouraging false worship as well. And then we moved into the shapeshifters. So Vartex was suspected of being one of those creatures, essentially. And he went by the name of Klypto as his false godlyhood name.
So while Ingwe was reading this, I've written my notes kind of Ingwe-ish, the same description of what Laura just described. Shapeshifters, Vask. Isn't it interesting to get an entire military fleet to shoot itself? Sensible.
Yeah, the Navy.
Referred to as the false god Klypto, worshipped for a decade outside of Sahani. That'd be fun. So, just to clarify, reading all the stuff about Vartex, I don't think there was anything. The massacres was a bit like he was anti the massacres, but like in
That's
the
good to
same way
know.
that he's anti John hunting. Like they're the same in English. Like keeping chickens and like, but the Trixie stuff is because we leveled up around this time, and I remember reading this, and then I got the spell where I could do the thing that is in these stories. I have a spell that can make people shoot each other if the rolls are right.
I think as well, when we were Vartexing Liliax, I also had just a couple of notes as well, which I guess would pertain to Celeste, that I took interest in, was that she was once a Titan. So not only being the first wife of Asmodeus, but the fact that she was a Titan. And then she killed 7 other gods on her way down until Aethia eventually took her out and her mortal body was destroyed.
Yes, I think Shark said it already.
Oh, sorry.
No, I didn't go into Aethia much.
I said that.
Yeah.
Oh, someone did mention
That was
already.
the only notes I took about Asmalia.
Can I also check Tom and Chirok? I have a spell on my spells list.
Here we go again.
Yeah, yep.
It's 4th level divination spell. You magic an offering, you put in contact with a god or god's servants, you ask a single question concerning a specific goal, event, or an activity to occur within 7 days. Is that a legit spell?
It's not
What is it
mine.
What's
called?
it called?
Divination. It's a like proper. How do I know? Oh, PHB page 234.
Yeah.
It's a legitimate spell.
It's
Okay.
legitimate this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
cool.
spell was so good.
So I
Thank you.
I have that spell, Tom, and I intend to use it to ask a question of Aethia. It's like a god spell, and I assume that in my character, I would speak to the elders, but I'm going to try and use that spell to talk to Aethia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No problem. there.
Another note as well, just quickly before we move on to the next one. Well, 2 things actually. So the first one being that the proprietor of the magic shop in Kingshelm, Kima, so her father is a Belladon. So that's where that comes in. So she's
That's
the drow, and we were having a casual convo, and she was like, "My father, a Belladon," and I was like, I recognize that name. So that as well. And quickly, if I have a look, those aren't important. If you want to know what the names of your weapons mean as well.
Oh, yes.
If that's something of interest to you. So you know that Lysan Royale in Sylvan means home. So
Chicken noodle 10.95.
I have a translation book. So the darts that Ingwe has, Torgrave, mean wind. Hinriel, the mace, means storm. And Arador, the axe, means dawn.
Ooh.
Just as a note.
It's added.
Gotta go fast.
Love that shit.
So she also told us the potential entrances to the Underdark at the Greenshore Vale and the Bavarian Wilds.
That was not her.
Oh,
That was
That one
Julius.
was from other people. She told you
Oh, yeah,
about
yeah,
the
yeah.
one in the Valador.
okay.
Yes.
And
And
we
apparently,
also
I guess you found out that a Belladon is a drow, not an elf,
Well,
Yeah.
it's an elf.
as it was technically presented to you by someone.
Yeah.
I think those are the only other notes that I have. Sarah Morpheus.
Ceramorphous.
In Jean's head as
Elves.
well, when it comes to elf stuff, he's just like, elves. I don't know the difference between them.
That's racist.
Well,
If it
yes,
was, if it
he's
was
ignorant.
if it was to make it easier for Sean to understand, or if it was to make it less of a problem for Sean, that's probably a question
mean-
that you can have, Layla.
Yeah, he's just kind of ignorant. I mean, he grew up without like really knowing much diversity at all.
He ain't one for all that fancy book learning.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's all these learning of the books that you talk about?
All the pointy ears are the same, aren't they?
Yeah.
I didn't even learn to read books until this episode.
Like episode 51, it's just like, wait. Furbolgs aren't a type of elf? What? I thought you guys were like cousins or something.
The
It's like,
brown
dude, you can't
ones,
say these
the
things.
pale ones, the furry ones, the green
scaly
ones.
ones.
He's
Hey, Space
if you're
Guys.
not
Well,
human,
done.
you're
The
elf.
short ones.
How do you know
The
so?
short elves.
Yeah, you got halflings who also have like kind of pointy ears, but they're not elves. So
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
the whole thing.
Got these elves that are
And
really,
gnomes.
really short and have a lot of beard. What? The stone elves? Come on.
All the races of the world. There's humans and elves, right? That's pretty much it, right?
And everything in between.
Yeah,
Starts
dragonborns
at
are just
gnomes
a
and
type
makes
of
the way up.
human.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. They just have
They just have a bad skin
Scales.
condition.
Yeah, you got a rough skin condition, my friend.
It's
spray
like,
scales
You
from
need vitamin
Game of Thrones.
D.
buy you some moisturizer.
So I think that's pretty much the information that we have about that episode.
Whew, that was a
So
big
we've still got
one.
the whole second
So-
half of the episode to go.
I was gonna say the second half was when we went to the doors and started opening everything up, and we
But
ended
you've also-
on that cliffhanger.
Did we do the Pixie King organized crime as well? That's the other thing that's in my notes. And then also Dada Yorkson hired. So we had the like
Oh, yeah.
find it last episode where like neither Drekik nor Ingwe spoke to each other about the fact that Dada Yorkson, and then Ingwe's like, let's go kill Dada Yorkson, and Drekik's like, oh, hang on a second, let's not.
Very true.
I'm
Yes.
not like defending him. I'm not like against the idea, but I'm against the idea.
yeah. It's like, look, we all have crappy family. We just,
It's like if we need to kill him, I guess, but like maybe we don't rush into that.
And then we've got Vinny, or is it Vinny,
Yep.
and I've just misspelt one
Vinny
of
Vinny,
these.
and her actual name is Vinja.
Oh, okay, that's why I've got Vinny. Was the person.
it's
So we don't know who
Indian.
that is. We don't know who Vinny is.
That's your mum,
We do know who
drunk
Vinny is.
bastard. That is your
Your
mum's
own
artist
mother.
name, and Vinja is her real name. Because she was writing books under Vinny Vinny.
The pen name.
Yes. Which
Yeah,
seemed to be
that's-
written in kind of code.
That's not actually because I'm drunk. That's because I have a different name in my original notes.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Which I'm actually not very good at names. Like I call my children the wrong names,
constantly.
and my siblings. It's just a thing.
I think that's
But
just
like-
a parent's thing.
I was
Is
gonna
just
say-
names just fly out the window.
My mom
You just
goes,
point and go,
"I'll confuse my brother."
you.
So forget it. You stop it.
You. Yeah. Or it's oi. Oi.
Older
Yeah.
one, stop at once.
We have a
Number
question
one.
here from Space Guy.
Ooh.
If you had to play one of your fellow party members, which one would you pick and why?
It's a good
Ingwe
question.
for fucking sure. Ingwe for sure. Just not worrying ever about consequences of anything. Just like doing the thing, like just being able to just like do that 100%.
Thing is, I want to play Jean but only because I think I can make better decisions.
I mean, fair.
Change the course of history.
Well,
But then, yeah, Ingwe would be so fun.
Ingwe for sure, yeah.
I've already technically played it. Like,
Yeah. I think Drekik's a like character that we haven't. I would be keen to play Drekik because I wouldn't know how to play him because we've kind of.
I don't even
He's-
fully know how to play.
Yeah. Like if it's like Drekik's come in as that kind of like very serious character that has played the fool the whole time. So I'm not
Yeah.
still not sure if Drekik is serious or a fool.
Yeah, because I think that's the thing. Drekik wants to be serious, but he's sort of an idiot.
Are you
Unless
going
it
for the
comes-
Jar Jar Binks kind of vibes? Like,
But he also, because of his background, I've given him a good battle sense. So when it comes to battles, he's very intelligent. But most of the time, he's just sort of winging it.
I get the impression if I had to give him like a cliche character like run up, he gives me the vibes of like the footballer who had, you know, the connected parents and all that sort of stuff, who grew up and smashed it through high school and like dominated the social scene there, and then got out and is like fully capable on the field, the battlefield in this instance and all that, but like has now realized elements of the real world, and it's just like, all right, I've been silly, I've been the party goer and all that, and now shit needs to get serious, and that's the part I'm not fully comprehending. Like
Used car
doing the
sales.
best effort, yeah.
Time to ace this world thing. How do I do that?
Whereas Ingwe, I feel like, is the polar opposite of that. Like his whole
Yes,
life
yeah,
has
yeah.
been like the really good person, like being serious, like taking everything really seriously. And I was like, I'm the party guy now. Like, what's up, spring break?
Well, I mean, for the spring break that Ingwe is doing at the moment, he started a fire. He burned down half a village. He stole a bottle of wine. He killed several people so far, unintentionally, we assume. And it seems like he has issues with love, and he gets rejected by every single psychopath that he loves.
crazy.
Anything
I
else?
find that like even just that. Oh no, we'll get to that. But like we have a later on episode where it's like roll a deception check, and I'm like, Ingwe was completely honest. What? No lies there.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
But in this episode though, Ingwe, what was the vibe about Ingwe with the kiss? Or was it a genuine confusion, or did we get that like?
For which part?
Like when Ingwe kissed John.
Oh, that was like Jean's interpretation of that was very much like, this hasn't happened before. I could see this coming from Ingwe, but also considering everything that's led up to this and how no one really seems to be trusting Jean right now, this feels like a ploy of some kind.
Oh yeah.
So he was sort of like on edge, being like, this could absolutely just be Ingwe. But also, I'm locking the fucking door because I don't know what to think right now of anyone now that they know of this tadpole thing and elements of distrust towards John. So
like, because Ingwe's not trying to be sexual with John.
no,
He's
no,
like-
yeah.
It's
You picked
like-
it up as more like a very good friend or like family type thing, where it's just like, oh, this is just something that I'm comfortable with. It's like an alternative to a hug or a handshake type thing. So he picked it up as that type of approach, but also he was just like, this
So
is
the
also
next level-
something you haven't done before, so I don't know.
So you switched from being the father figure in that moment to being a puppy.
Kind of, yeah.
Like in Ingwe's mind, right? Like,
Yeah.
you're the like definition of how this world works. Like you define the world, and I'll follow you to like you have got a thing in your head that's gonna kill us all, and you're happy about it. I get it.
Yeah.
You are, and then so you just like did that switch where it's like, belly rubs.
He doesn't hurt you.
I love you, and I really don't want to put you down, but if the vet needs to, you're gonna stay on the farm.
That's very fair.
Oh, that's good.
Well, you ended up going to Mount Valor and finally picked a door 95 minutes later. And each of you were presented with challenges, which I believe only began the next episode. Yes, I believe that the next episode was when you actually had the challenges begin. But each of you were cut off from each other in a room with some statue in a very different room, each of you. Some fire, some ice, some pits of acid, some deep drops, some sand. And I think that leads us to the next episode, episode 44, Riddles in the Dark. And Laura was MIA in that specific one, and that
I
was
have
when
no
we had
notes.
all the new overlays, all the new arts. We announced our giveaway, I believe.
Yeah, that was
And
because Laura
everything
just
cool.
Laura went the full mile before that week and just completely destroyed herself.
I was in hospital that night. Not because of the stream, something completely different. I was watching the stream from the emergency room, like with my headphones on. I was
She's just
engaged.
like, oxygen mask. Go, guys, go.
I need to see what happens.
She brought her dice with her.
Can't say I'm not dedicated.
No,
No.
definitely. So, who has some good notes for that one?
Oh, at the end of this recap, like of this episode, can I talk about what happened? Because I don't think we've actually talked about what Celeste did during that time. So
Not really, but yeah.
There was a brief instance where, like, right afterwards, it was like, "What happened?" And it's like, "We are running from a volcano." And it's like, "Fair point. All right."
Let's
Yes.
go. I
yeah, that
don't have any
conversation never
notes
happened.
for this per se. I just remember that I was fighting a bird and it hurt me, so I clapped my hands and it disintegrated.
Yes. She did shit ton of damage in one hit.
Yeah. Yep.
But you also answered the riddle wrong.
I did because I heard. "Garble, garble, garble."
Literally, you did not go to the right ones. Yeah, that's fine.
I had one door where I could have understood, and I just, yep, that was Celeste's door. So who knows what happened behind that door?
That's very
I've
true.
got because I think we cycled through back and forth, right? Like it was almost like initiative bouncing between the rooms.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So I've got like a bit of a breakdown for those where I've written Jean tests the sending stone, but it fails. He then sprints and rockets off the bridge, falling 60 feet onto his face. Pulls out his hand axes and attempted to use them to climb. Climbs to the top, sees a giant set of stairs behind him. The giant moves and says something in we presume giant or something at the time, he wasn't sure. Jean then says, "Shit, I chose the wrong room," and then bam, he gets hit by a fucking hammer.
It was celestial, I believe.
Okay, there you go. Jean is used like a softball and bounced around the room like before, finally landing on a hard enough blow. 2 crits in one fight. Woo-woo. The giant crumbles before reforming and hammering him the orb. It feels like winter itself is in the palm of his hand. Ingwe checks the sand for possible jump scares, so to speak, and then checks the sand if it will hold his weight. Ingwe tries to cross but begins sinking. The snake then moves and asks Ingwe in Dwarvish, "What is in front of you but you can never see?" Ingwe responds with time but is told he is wrong. The snake attacks, missing, and Ingwe tries to ask for another try as he believes he wasn't specific enough. He calls out the future. The snake and Ingwe start an anaconda squeeze-off as they both turn into anacondas, or giant snakes. Ingwe hits a critical squeeze, but the fight continues until he bites it and turns it to sand as air rushes into Ingwe's lungs. The snake then reforms and offers its eye. Drekik checks his gravity before attempting to leap, but gravity is weird here, and he plummets to the bottom into a floor of sharp stones. Drekik is struck by the bird after failing to answer its question in a language he doesn't understand, which he replied with yes. Then the bird strikes and flies away. Drekik then uses Shatter at 11 out of 10 volume, exploding the bird into pebbles, which then reforms, drops the orb at his feet, and bows before returning to its platform. And Celeste walks out of the room with eyes of black and a bloody nose.
Yes.
Yeah.
Indeed. So maybe it's an interesting time to mention what happened to Celeste.
I was going to say, we do that now, or is it the end of this episode?
I mean, it might be that's sort of a part of it that I don't want to mention because it's kind of a little bit like hasn't been a conversation. But for the purposes of like the recap and just a little bit of lore dump, I also would like to share it. So I don't know.
Parentheses. Y'all don't fucking know this shit. Shut up.
No one knows this. So Celeste, so there's a little bit of miscommunication, I think, between like Tom because
Probably,
obviously
yeah.
I wasn't there, and I was sick. Like I was going to be at the thing, and then literally 20 minutes before the episode started, I was at the hospital. But Celeste had comprehend languages up, so she could understand what the creature was saying, and she got her riddle correct.
Yes.
And so hers was what grows shorter the older it gets, and the answer was a candle. So that was her riddle. So she goes up there to do the thing, and made the mistake of casting a spell. And as we know, when Celeste does things with magic, sometimes adverse events can happen. And the volcano that erupts from Mount Valor was Celeste's fault for that, and yeah.
Yep.
Ah,
Welcome
What?
to my wild magic.
ah.
So this,
Yes.
and it hasn't been a conversation in game yet. Like there hasn't been.
No one knows
Like,
because it
any
made
of the-
sense.
Because we still don't know about your wild magic. We're still
Yeah.
like confused about it. That's so cool.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
really
So-
like it.
Oh man.
So that's why. So when she was coming out of the cave with her thing, like she wasn't actually attacked by the dragon. She was attacked by like her own like lava
Her
and like
own
shit
magic.
in that room. That's where it starts basically. The volcano, the lava starts within that room, and she had to like, yeah.
Cool and sunny.
Yes, it's pretty
Your
fucked
fault.
up, but yes.
Yeah.
You
It could have been
changed the
many.
landscape of the world.
She changed the world,
Cities in
my
Gulf
world,
or
whatever.
towns.
You destroyed 2 villages.
Celeste is just like, I've seen this world countless times by now. Let's change it.
But it's just so interesting
Never
because
make
there,
up.
and I'm sure that it's happened with a lot of other people as well, with like their characters and things like that. There's so much that's like happened that hasn't been a conversation in game, where it's just been like I'm just holding on to like these little pebbles, and no one's mentioned anything or said
Oh.
anything or had conversations, and it's like okay, cool.
Yeah, I think it also fit right when they were done doing it. It started collapsing for them.
Yeah.
Not realizing that it wasn't not related to that at all.
Yeah.
It was just the circumstance of your wild magic that where you rolled what you rolled.
Yep.
There you go.
Oh man, that. Okay, I don't want to mention certain things about John's train of thoughts and how the world is going right now. That'll definitely come up in a future episode. But that will make such an impact if John finds out. Whoo!
Yes.
Yep.
All right.
So yeah, that was an interesting part that was not really known. I made the unfortunate mistake of believing that everyone would have answered theirs wrong because everyone else did. So I just
I'm
assumed
so
that you did.
annoyed. I'm so annoyed. I'm so annoyed.
You got it right, but you had to
Say the right word. I got
Say
it.
it
But it's a
twice.
bit like when we did that one shot where which Norocto ran, and I in my head had the answer to the riddle and then said out loud the wrong step. Like I knew
Actually,
it.
you would have gotten it wrong anyway because you didn't say it in the right language.
Ooh.
You didn't respond in his language. You responded in
What
common,
was-
as far as
what
I
was
said. That's why I
Drakic's
specifically
riddle?
asked you.
Cool,
So you would have gotten it wrong no matter what.
What was Drakic's riddle again? Because I had no idea.
Yeah,
I
what
have
were
to
the other two
remember it.
riddles?
Let me see if I can find them.
Give
Dungeon
it to us
Master.
in comments so that like we can understand them.
I can only speak common, Jacob.
Yeah, can you give it to us in a like
You can also speak
celestial?
I can give it to you in German if you want.
Oh yeah, do that.
Was ist die Answer? I don't really know.
That's
I'm
so
not
German.
sure
I think
Yeah.
I think he
can
said-
speak German like
I
that.
think he
Was
said
sind
I'll
die
give it to you in due time.
I can speak German. Mein Name ist Jacob.
Ich heiße Jacob.
Mein Name sind Jacob.
Das ist mein Hamburger.
Baguettes.
Ja, ja.
Ich heiße Lau und ich bin 29 Jahre alt.
Oh, Lord.
There you go.
Du verstehst nicht, was ich spreche?
Dummkopf.
Are you speaking German?
Ja.
Yes.
Je suis Daniel.
Je
Je m'appelle Daniel.
Je m'appelle Daniel.
Menjan ist Safakayo Nerutskovili.
Excusez-moi, monsieur. Je veux regarder le parfum.
There we go. It is layer.
I do not have a parfum, but thank you for
Bon
asking.
bon, omelette du fromage.
please.
If someone speaks Italian,
My
I'll
wife
understand you, but I
speaks
can't
fluent
speak it, so-
French, and she is annoyed because I can't. And I can understand it, kinda, but I can't speak it.
I went on a trip to our French trip from like year 11 French. We went to New Caledonia and we really couldn't speak French. Like we stayed in people's houses that could speak English. You know,
Mm.
like foreigners would know this for sure. Like the English can't speak other languages.
Nope.
We can speak their language. And then but I had that moment where I was like, yes, I'm in the space where I know what to say at the right time. And I like was in the ice cream shop and asked the guy to move like really naturally. And then he just turned to me and was like, do you speak English? Wasn't a French person.
I found the riddles. So, Drekig, your riddle was in Celestial. It was, the more there is, the less you can see. What is it?
Darkness.
Darkness. Shadows.
Is it darkness?
Yes.
I in my head, it popped into my head as soon as you asked the question.
And I think you
Celeste's
said,
voice for some reason.
I think you said wind. I think I put it in here that you said wind, I think.
Oh yeah, I did.
You just said yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Actually, no, I said yes.
Yes.
So on brand.
And Sean's... So the one in
My response
Dwarvish was the
shit, I
one that...
chose the wrong room.
The one in Dwarvish was the one that Ingwe had. And the one that Sean had was...
Primordial then?
Primordial, yes.
Okay.
What cannot talk but will reply when spoken to?
Echo.
Echo.
It is an echo.
You still have a voice in your head too. It's so crazy.
No, that was just an echo.
Celeste gets all the riddles right, and there's still an
Yeah.
And there's still
Celeste,
But I'm gonna,
Celeste just like, get out the way, everyone.
everyone
I'm
stay
gonna
here, I'll
cast
do all
Spine's
the rooms.
traps.
Yeah.
Yes, you already shared the other two, so you already got those ones. But you had to respond in the language given, which means that some of these languages you just didn't have them.
Yeah.
And that's why you had to fight them instead, which wasn't apparently not a problem for Drekking.
Yes.
So I'd add a few hundred extra hit points next time. But yes, you made it to Mount Valor. You did the thing, fought the thing, tried to do riddles. Celeste blew the fuck out of things, and you
But that's on the DM.
left. Yes, but you
Also, some
left.
paintings down below, I believe.
You saw some paintings, yes, of various
Dragonborn
different.
with a sword in hand, Furbolg with a book, with a Furbolg on the cover, human holding something. I completely forgot a word. Human holding and axe. That's probably human holding an axe with a blue arm.
Yes.
And elvish woman with colourful hair standing in a doorway.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. And that was
those
the end of that one, I think.
Familiar.
And then we walked for like 24 hours without stopping. Or ran.
I was
That
gonna
is
say,
true.
We ended on the cliffhanger on this one as well, which was after entering
Oh,
Blighttown.
that's right. We went to
Yeah.
Blightwood, and
Yeah,
everyone
Blightwood's
failed their
there.
wisdom throws except for me. And then I couldn't make the next session.
Yes. Before you got there, though, you had a short rest to try to recover what just happened, and during that, you went into the amulet once more and had a conversation with Vartex, but more importantly, with the Blue Fox.
Yes.
And you learned something about the fox that was different. While Sean was playing with it, you realized it was a phasing fox, that it could jump back and forth.
Blink
And
fox.
that apparently it could also mimic people's talking. So,
I would die for this fox.
This fox
that's,
is
that
like
an
the
interesting
fifth party
turn.
member. If we ever get a guest person to join us on stream, they have to play the fox.
I'll let Matthew Mercer know. He would
Official
fucking do
announcement,
it.
here it
He would
is.
fucking do it.
Just go, yip, 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 yip.
Do like a Chris Perkins cameo who comes in as a blue fox, stays for
Yeah.
like 30 seconds, then
Dies.
the fox dies.
Brings that, yep.
That's fine. Just imagine how much money that guy would have made just from that cameo. If he actually got money per episode. That would have been crazy still.
I think that episode in particular, they mentioned that he literally just showed up to set because he was just like, "Hey, I just wanted to come watch it live," and they're just like, "Well, you're here. You want to throw together a character?"
Yeah. No, that's great. Sometimes putting too much thought into characters can make it too confusing.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes the simple is better, even though it wasn't simple at all. But
We should do that. We should get someone in and give them 5 minutes to prepare a character. We should do that for like a one shot or something one time, where it's like we
Yeah.
all like 5 minutes at the beginning of the stream to like make the character, and then it's like go.
Yep.
That'd be fun.
yeah, or everyone else makes the character for you.
Oh god.
Ooh,
Like
I'm
character
so
roulette.
keen for that. I
Everyone
have so
has a
many
thing.
troll ideas.
One person
Character
chooses
real.
the worst
Everyone
ones.
makes the worst character, and then you have a battle royale.
You are a
Oh,
wizard.
that's like the kid thing you
But
do
you're
with the
dumb.
kids. Like, no, so the best trick with children. This is info for you, Naruto. You can make the piles when you're sharing out the treats, but your sibling gets to choose which pile to have. So you can't make it too bad. You have to try and make it even, because if you just like put
Right.
a massive pile of lollies in one pile and 2 in the other, then they will just take
The
massive pile of
sibling's gonna
lollies.
take the
Hey, bro, Taylor. Yes, random one shot.
Woohoo.
parenting hacks.
I split. You choose.
I think what I would do is I would make a warlock who is also warlock wizard level 3 subclass with then some other thing as the thing. So just multi-class into 3 levels. So you just have shit. You have nothing. And
Yeah,
then
make a
pass
level
that
3
on.
character that's like all level 1 multi-classes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Like
the
a
trick
level
is if
1
you get your
wizard, a
own,
level-
if you get your own, you're fucked.
I would make a wizard druid with 20 strength and 20 constitution and just 8 everything else.
You can't do it. You need to use 45. Oh, that could be fun. We can definitely do
Right,
that.
writing that down for the future. Someone write that down. Christmas episode.
I mean,
Tis the
maybe. I'm
season
not sure if
to
it would be very
stupid.
Christmassy to like kill each other, but maybe it's just
Hello. did
Attack
you
of the
not-
Elves.
Last
Did you not
year's
see
Christmas-
Sherrock's
Sorry.
Christmas special? Like,
I
That was more like
may
a
or may
Halloween
not have
special,
summoned
it's
a elephant after spending 5 hours trying to cast a ritual. It's so good. I was just trying to get 2 elephants instead of 1. That's all I was doing. Then I realized they're both concentration and I fucked up. Anyway, I play D&D sometimes too.
so can somebody please tell me what happened on episode 45 with apparently the town drunk Drekik?
No, we're skipping that episode. Just
Yeah, so 44 ended
What
with
was
you
my
going to
name?
Blightwood. Your name was Jan. Jan. I
Jan.
think.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say the thing I have here for the episode previous is us walking into the bar and all that, and then failing our things. Yeah, and then Sasha was the name of Celeste. Joseph was John. Jean was Ingwe, and John was Drekik, is what I have for the first instance.
Sean was everyone?
No. So I've got Drekik's name was John. Ingwe's name was Jan. John's name was Joseph, and Celeste's name was Sasha. That's what I've got. I don't know,
That's what I'm.
but I know that names also
Everybody
change
tune in to Triple J.
every time we change.
That's like different
positions
from
as well.
mine. Like I've
There
got
you go.
Sasha Salvatore's,
That's you.
Joseph, John, Bob, and Gerald. Where did I get Bob and Gerald from?
I've got Gerald was the child of the local noble I have, and I have Bob was the owner of the tavern/inn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, those are my 4 notes for that entire thing. Sasha, Joseph, Bob, and Gerald.
Well,
I've got that Drekik was also married to Beatrice, the halfling.
was married?
you were married, yeah? You had kids too. You were married to a half-elven lady, I think.
I've got a halfling who appeared
Halfling.
in her 80s.
Yes, she was
Okay.
an old
A
lady.
halfling that would have equivalent it.
Ingwe noticed inconsistencies.
DM, I have a very serious question.
Yes.
In the week I wasn't myself, did me and this half lady do anything?
Roll a Perception check.
I give
no.
you inspiration. Add a d6 to that.
I got a 17 plus what am I rolling?
Oh no, a d8.
Perception.
Perception. Oh, so I got 27, and I'll give you a D8 as well because 30.
There might be a mini Drekik on the way.
And Drekik would remember doing that. Oh no.
Yes.
Okay.
Remember everything.
It's the reason he's been drinking so much lately.
Okay. Mental note.
And
Drekik.
I will point out that Sean was also married, and Sean also
Consummated the marriage.
did Swedish massages.
Just a massage.
Well. Anyway, think of the rest of this city where some of these people might have been teamed up with their fucking sisters or parents. Do you know?
Anything can happen in D&D. Welcome.
Yep. The real horror of the false Hydra. Incest.
No, that would actually be important for Drekik because that would have been Drekik's first time.
Well,
Oh, there you go.
technically it was Jan's first time, but anyway, that is.
Ingwe still
hell of
hasn't
a
had his
story.
first time. All of the psychopaths he tries to have sex with are like, no.
I think the serial killers probably aren't the best ones to pick.
Next,
We
Yeah,
can
well,
hunt down
the
the alley man.
next episode,
Ingwe.
Drake and Ingwe.
We've gone on to hugs now.
Next time it's the town's crier, it's literally just like, oh, this predator. And then it's just all these victims, including Ingwe. Oh boy. Anyway, yes, you arrived at Bloodwood and everything was definitely not normal. Drekik was not himself, but also not present, because you weren't here. A lot of weird shit happened, and you slowly started to figure things out. You got a note in your pocket saying that there is a vampire in the city, that the mayor was maybe a vampire, which seemed to be from Isadora, but you don't remember talking to her. You decided to investigate, and Sean, who was the coach driver with no coach, managed to fill in the blanks and became the tour guide of Blightwood and started buying beers for everyone, hoping they would get too drunk to notice that he had no clue what he was doing. However, he also managed to walk straight into a fucking waterfall for no reason and find the secret lair in one go.
He just gotta wash his hands, is what he was doing.
Yes. And then you fell to the bottom and the illusion stayed up, but the confusing ideas about who people were dropped for a lot of people. And you ended up having a fight downstairs with who seemed to be protecting the orphanage, protecting the baby. You had a long fight. You killed a whole bunch of innocent people, as usual. And Celeste did something. Again.
What?
I love how Celeste has been like bagging out John for keeping all these secrets this whole time, and Celeste's been doing the most damage to the well.
She doesn't know though. Like she doesn't know that. Like that's the really hard part, I think. It's like she doesn't understand like what's going on. Because I even I think I spoke to Tom about it and I rolled like an intelligence check for her, and it's just like no idea.
Yeah.
That's my favorite bit about it, is like we all have like justified the terrible thing Celeste has done. Like we've given it a reason. Someone said, "Oh, that's what happened," and we've all gone, "Yep, that makes sense. That checks out."
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It's also pretty violent that someone was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna summon a volcano." Like,
Yeah.
not that high level.
That was the
Exactly.
most mind-blowing one because it was the most sensible. Like clearly, as players, the time warp was very clearly Celeste, and as characters, it wasn't because we
Yes.
justified it.
Yes.
But
Also,
like
you were
the
separated when it
volcano's the
happened.
one that's like,
Yes. You also separated when it happened, so that is
Yeah,
that.
as players and as characters, the volcano was just like, what? It was you.
yeah. That's the cool moment where you're like, ah!
Well, I mean, it's not the first time weird things has happened. There's been several incidents where something has transpired. At
But
one point,
every
someone
time
changed
there's
color.
been a plausible,
Someone
every time
been
there's been a plausible like.
Well, it's because
throwing
there's.
up eels.
I think it's because like when it happens, something else is going on during that time. Like we're fighting someone or like we're doing a thing, and that's when she uses the magic, and that's when it's like. So obviously, like yeah, it was the Alleyman slasher who did that. It's like a defense mechanism when he was doing the thing, and we all got hurt. Or like yeah, when we were fighting those like the things in the cave, like they summoned these birds to like attack us. Like it was like it's like all these things. Because
Yeah.
it's happening during chaos, and chaos just feeds chaos, and it's like, all right, cool.
Yes. Yeah, the bird you were fighting on the airship was also Celeste.
What was the spell that Celeste cast that got the birds to attack us?
It's wild magic.
No, but
So-
what did she cast in the first place? Like something
So
like warm the
that one was a
surface.
little different because what happened was that she died,
Oh,
and
yeah.
as a reaction to her dying, I had her roll on the thing as well.
Yeah.
when she
Celeste
come
is
back.
dangerous.
And then the birds, you did hear that the birds, they suddenly were there, these carnivorous birds, and then they chased you down when you were flying in the airship because you were going past where they were, and that's also part of the situation. So yes.
I love the juxtaposition as well, like that Celeste has these conversations with Ingwe that you have to be responsible, like we are doing these things, you have to think your actions, like, you know, think of the consequences of all your actions, and we're trying to save the world, and don't fall into the trap of, you know, doing it is unknowingly destroying the world as she is. Like
As she's
Yeah.
teaching people to mind their powers, she doesn't even know that it's her powers causing a lot of chaos.
Yes. That's
She
the
hasn't-
best, actually.
Crazy.
Of all those conversations, it's like Ingwe, like clearly, obviously, is a psychopath, and everyone's like, "Don't do that." But actually, his actions have all been very sensible. Whereas, like Jean, who's like, "Oh, don't be mean to people,"
It's a good
has
impression.
like done the evilest shit in the evil, and Celeste is like, "Be careful with magic." I'm gonna let a volcano go.
I feel like in this instance, Celeste is like that noble lady who tells everyone how to behave and to follow the rules and always be a good girl and a good man and a good boy and just follow the rules and follow whatever your parents are saying, and then she's secretly putting arsenic into her husband's drink without knowing because she just doesn't read the fucking label.
do as I preach, not as I do.
Yeah,
Yes.
funding
Well,
a
that-
charity that's actually an assassin's guild.
Yeah,
With not
that's-
knowingly, like, this money's going towards children and their food.
Yes, they've been trained to be
It's
assassins.
just
Here,
it's such a head fuck too, like because I as Laura don't want to cast spells that will make me roll on the wild magic table. That is Celeste. She's like, this will be really useful in this moment, so I will cast the thing.
Yes.
Like it's just so like
And
Y'all.
to make matters worse, what actually happened here was that you were all there was a wisdom saving throw from every one of you, and you were worried because it previously had been very high. So Celeste, you rolled a 15, I believe, and then before the result,
I rolled a 19.
you rolled a 19, but because you didn't believe that it was high enough, you re-rolled it using your wild magic.
Yep.
But everyone who's rolled over 15 passed.
Yep. So I rolled a
So it was
19 because I thought
actually-
the DC was 20.
It wasn't necessary down there. And then you flew into the future.
But again, like that makes sense as like, you know, these things that are happening in Blightwood where our minds keep getting fucked with, and she knows that, like, is the moments
Absolutely.
of realization. So it's like she would do what she could to like shield her mind. So it's like in the moment it makes sense to do the thing.
Absolutely. 100%. There was no doubt about that. I think that no one would have thought that that was a bad idea to do. It was just interesting that there were so big consequences of doing that when it technically you were fine.
Because I was
This is
so
fine.
excited as well when I like rolled a 19, and then I was like, I'm gonna use my wild magic to like re-roll it, and then I rolled a natural 20, and I was like so hype, and then it was like, also you fucked everything.
Well, not really, because actually it turned out narratively to be good.
Yeah.
You
Anyway,
got
guys,
some
I'm
insight.
We learned a lot of stuff in the future.
Yes.
Segue.
So,
My tiny
Yeah.
puppy is now a giant.
wow.
Giant
puppy.
puppy.
Oh,
giant
little
dog.
fox.
They grow so quickly.
Yeah.
My
Wow.
little Ed Sheeran is still little.
Well, I mean, one of those two is potty trained, and it's definitely not Ed Sheeran.
All right, next episode,
Right.
46, Ashes to
I
Ashes.
have
Yes.
so many I have so many notes because I was away from the last one, and I'm away for the next one, and I've got a lot of notes for this one.
Alright,
Just before we do, I've got one last thing. I
Right.
do have a note from 45, which I did not elaborate, probably because Sean was talking at the time or something. I'm not too sure. But it just says, we must find Isadora. And then under that, vampire mayor, question mark?
Yes.
So we already had an inkling then. And I don't remember what that was based on.
So Celeste got a note.
That's right, yes.
When you lost your memory temporarily and you woke up in the idea that you had been there for a week. Yeah, because you couldn't remember what was... While the thing was going on, you didn't remember anything that happened when you were under the spell. But once the spell was broken, you remembered everything. So suddenly you just woke up for 20 minutes while this thing was feeding, because when it's feeding, it can't sing at the same time. And when it's singing, that's when everyone gets fucked up. So for 20 minutes a day when it was eating, killing someone, everyone was like, what the fuck is going on here? And then you had 20 minutes to figure out what's going on, and then eventually I'll be like, time's up.
Yeah.
Wisdom saving throw. Yeah.
And we have a question. Oh, sorry.
That's where you woke up with the note in your pocket. You woke up with a smashed mirror and all that kind of stuff. It was all kind of notes leading to you to know that something weird was going on. It wasn't so much that there was something going on with the mirrors. That was not my intention. It was more that Sean's like, I'm fucking trapped, and it was smashed the mirror in like anger. And like the thing had already bitten Ingwe. He already had a wound on his back from the thing, but you didn't have time to talk about it. But he saw that he was already bitten by something because this creature had already tried to snack on him. And all that kind of stuff. No, because there was something happening to all four of you that was slightly a hint. But, yeah. Anyway.
There's a question.
So we have a question, actually, before we dive into episode 46. From Broadtail Tavern. How do you deal with players missing a session?
I hired an assassin, and I just killed him in real life. They won't do
I'm
that
actually
again.
the third iteration. Like they keep cloning me, and I come
Yeah,
back.
I keep cloning him because every time he gets a job, I just have to get rid of him. No,
Yeah.
It's
it
less wild
depends.
magic cloning.
Yep.
I think it'd be more beneficial to clone me and have one of me doing my job and the other one being here for D&D. But no,
This is not for
I
you.
can only
This
be
is
one.
not for you. This is for me. It's tricky. It's tricky sometimes to manage, especially when you're doing a stream. I think usually what you can do is you can have someone else run their character. But I feel like if you run someone else's character, you don't focus on your own character as much. And I feel like I don't like that. So instead, I'll just adjust whatever encounter if needed. And just say they're knocked out. They have, I don't know, some kind of malaria or something, and just kind of remove them from the situation so the people who are actually there can focus on each other instead of someone who's not there. In combat situations, yeah, of course, this person would have been there and do all these things, but I feel it's better to just have the RP flow than an extra person. I'll just adjust it on my end if that's necessary.
And it works really well if the party is like split, because then Tom will just like lead that whole thing, and then usually after, if we do miss a session, he'll have like a catch up with us, like a recap, and be like, okay, this is what happened. What would you do like in these situations?
Yes.
And that way we at least, it's not as jarring for us to then come back into a session and have like assumed knowledge or like, what was I doing during this? Like we just know and can slip back into the flow of the game.
Yes, I think
I
I
also
know-
there's
you
also
go,
a
you
bit
go.
of like an ability to pad when the last minute, like, because we have those like, if someone, well, particularly when Tom goes out and it's like, you know, like he what do you do when you're missing a player? What do you do when the DM is missing? Like, it's about understanding that it's storytelling together, not like, it's not the players versus the DM. So if the DM's not there, obviously the DM has things that they're doing. So as players, if the DM's not there for a short period of time, there's actually conversations you can have or things that you can do that don't impact the story but are actually fun too. That's like, oh, let's talk about this, or I'm gonna try and do this thing, and you can just roll or not even have to roll, but just expect your characters to have that interaction, that genuine interaction that's not like we're trying to impact the storyline. And the flip side of that too is like often Tom will come back halfway through and be like, I'm going to hold on to that. I'm going to make that random interaction that wasn't planned, that you just did because you were padding time. I'm going to put that in the story. And I think
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Like that. I think that's important because then, again, it's storytelling with us. It's not me giving you a story. I have obviously some ideas for where I wanted to go, but like, fucking Lily was not intended. That just happened because you couldn't not fuck with the fucking Dreamweaver.
You were given the specific choice. Do you accept Lily as your Lord and Savior? And you said yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it's important. I think the tricky part is because everyone has personal storylines, personal things going on. So let's say that Drekik is a baker and he really wants to go to this competition, but then Naruto can't make it this session, and that's the competition. What do I do then? Because the whole thing would have been wasted if the person it was actually about couldn't make it. So I sometimes will drop in encounters or other random shit to pad that in between to give them a chance to catch up, or do something else if I can. That's the tricky one. That's a really, really tricky one, because if it's there's their storylines, you can't just kind of, oh, he's not there.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate, you lost your blood point.
But I like to think as well that if we are in a situation where we're following someone's story, that we do, like, we honor that as well in a way, like, as players. Like, it's happened before in the home games, as an example, where the person, like, we're in the middle of, like, their thread, essentially, and then they drop out for, you know, like, a couple sessions or whatever. It's, like, just carrying that on in, like, a respectful way, and, like, making sure we get as much information and, like, letting them know, like, what's happening during those sessions and things like that as well. I feel like honoring the fact that it's someone else's kind of thread that you're following is really important as well, not kind of taking over.
Yeah, I think this group is really, really good at giving each other space. I feel
like
not talking over each other.
Sessions.
Yeah, like not doing that, not being too much away, but also when you are here, like giving each other space to talk and not talking over each other or overruling each other's decisions. I feel like it's a very democratic decision that happens in game naturally. With RP, where everyone has an equal amount of value to the group in the sense of the RP, and obviously also to watch. Like, it's funnier to watch if everyone's having as much fun as each other. Yeah, so I think that's really important too.
We have another question as well.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
So who would be your dream guest player? And I think we all might have a different answer to this.
Interesting question.
Trouble is now.
Dead or alive? Robin Williams, for sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, he'd be cool.
Ooh.
For me personally, I think we can do one each. I think for me personally, what I want this ridiculous, stupid little fucking animal that has nothing to do with anything, and I want Matthew Mercer to voice it, just for like 10 seconds or something like that. Just a ridiculous little cameo would be super funny. I think that could be really cool. But obviously, also just joining in for playing a character or whatever. But
yeah. It's so hard because it's also the concept, like when I first heard the question, I was like, oh, who in the D&D community, like who that we know plays or whatever, or is like, you know, well known for playing, even celebrities who might play it, that sort of thing. But then someone was like Robin Williams. I'm like, wait, anyone? Shit, that makes it tough.
And I also I have to also think about it practically as if it would come to fruition, you know.
Yeah.
This is us like ordering from a menu, like who do we want?
Yeah.
But factoring in like my intimidation, like if it was Matt Mercer, if he came in to play, I would be like just not able to speak or play. Like I would be like so intimidated.
well, he's just going to be playing a pigeon anyway.
Even that, I'd be like, have to be nice to the pigeon.
Okay, the pigeon robs you.
I think I would have, in a way, the flip. My nerves would get the better of me, and I wouldn't be able to shut up. It's just like, stop, shut up.
I go up to your character and I hug them and I kiss them and I get on one knee and I propose to them.
Oh yeah, in some
Basically,
ways,
this is now my fantasy. Shut up.
in some ways, like a really like Harvey Weinstein, and he doesn't know how to play, so you just make him feel like torture the whole scene. And then you get hit in the face with a rock, and your face is smashed. Shut up, you bastard!
And an angry mob just stones you. Mine would actually be ProZD is his name on YouTube.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not sure I know what that
That's
is.
who I would like
Incredible.
to play YouTube with.
Yeah.
I mean, not.
That's who you
who I
wanna
would like
play
to play. I'd like to play YouTube with him. I get famous instant. No, D&D.
ProZD is a good choice. Ooh.
Yeah,
I think I looked it up, but I actually don't know what that is.
He's like
he's good. He's a
incredible
voice
little
actor.
clips.
but-
Yeah.
Okay. I'll check that out later. Okay.
I think I would go Brennan Lee Mulligan.
I was thinking.
I've only just
I
started
would-
to get a little more into Dimension 20 and that, and I just started Calamity, and I think he's really on top of things, and I think he would be very interesting because he just
Yeah.
is really quick-witted with shit.
I think I would like to play Vampire with him more than D&D, not because there's anything wrong with him, but I feel like he's just born for Vampire the Masquerade.
He's
Yeah.
born for chaos.
He is in the live stream Vampire the Masquerade where he plays a psychopathic priest, pretty much. And fuck me, that was good. Anyway,
Yeah.
so he's definitely a great choice too, I think.
Yeah.
So if you're watching, we know you're watching,
Hey, Brennan.
send us a message.
Hey,
I just
President.
like my dream guest. I think would just be someone that's like fucking like chaotic. Like I don't have anyone like Danny DeVito, like as an example. Just like someone like
Jim Carrey.
I don't know, just like someone who could just come in and just like
Hey, Tom
fuck shit
Cruise,
up.
come play D&D with us. Leave.
God.
What about Ryan Reynolds?
He'll
Oh,
like
Brian
train.
Reynolds.
Would be an
For other
interesting choice
reasons.
too.
Reynolds would be great. Tom Cruise, I feel
Ryan
like
Reynolds
he'd
would just
train-
play Deadpool in D&D though.
Yeah, exactly.
He has to be the bard.
Tom Cruise would like get professional like dungeon master, like he would go to professionals and that like learn the craft down to a T to the most perfect element, and then come in
He'd
with
be-
the
he'd be a
anticipation
awfully
of,
good
like,
paladin.
outdoing. Yeah.
Nah, I'd hate. You wouldn't want to play with Tom Cruise, but you would
No.
like to go to a DM. Like if he was the DM, then okay.
Yeah.
But like playing with him, because it just like it'd be like Laura said, like oh, I'm just gonna sit here quietly. Like he's good, but I like I was playing.
Or like a drag queen or something, like someone who can just come in
Oh,
and
like
just like
RuPaul.
Didn't
Maybe
Matthew
not
Merchant do
RuPaul.
one where they were all drag queens? I think he did one where he's game mastering for a set of drag queens, where they're all in full drag when they're playing. I'm pretty sure I saw him do
Who's
that.
this?
Matthew Mercer.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember what it's called. Look it up.
I could be wrong, but I do vaguely recall seeing something that was called Dungeons and Drag Queens, and I think it
Yep.
was a
That's him.
drag queen D&D thing.
Yep. You should definitely watch
like
that.
Bianca Del Rio. Like I'd love to play like Bianca Del Rio.
It's very dramatic, let's say it like that.
All
Okay.
right.
Anyway.
So let's
Enough
move on
about fan crushes. And,
Right,
drag
so
queens.
do we have a break now and then go to 46, or do we start 46?
That's up to you guys.
Well, I reckon if we try and smash out the next 3 in the next like 15 to 20 minutes, and then we can do like our theories and all that stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
Maybe in the
Well, I have
second half.
lots of notes on 46.
Okay. Well, we can continue to 46.
Sweet.
Ashes to ashes. Very appropriately.
So,
I should realize you.
my first note. I land on a chair at a dining table on the second floor of a ruined building. Rivers of lava flow through the city that seems empty and dead from what we can see. Giant statue figures 65 feet tall are moving through the buildings. Everything is covered in ash. Everything smells of sulfur, and it feels like we want to puke. The purple moon, about a doxa, has a crater, and we can see right through it. The green moon, Lorax, has a chunk missing, and the other 2 moons seem the same as they've always been. Our tattoos on our arms are complete, and they reveal the complete map of the labyrinth with a book in the middle of it. And my tattoo of all the gods has faded. A child is seen by Ingwe ducking into an alleyway to hide from harpies. We must follow it. In doing so, we found an old man and the boy who tried running, but we caught them. The old man was named Johan, and he has been surviving here for 15 years. The boy, Robin, who is 12, had been surviving with Johan. Then we were ambushed by a tribe of people who Isaiah, who's a female, was the leader. Nico was a little beard. Nico had a little beard. He was a human, maybe about 20. Robic seems like the older brother. Jebo, it says half health. I think that's supposed to be half elf.
Well, probably.
I mean, yeah. In the
Pummel.
circumstances they were in, probably both.
I don't think I caught this when we were doing it, but Pummel is the big buff human. Siren is the female. I don't know what type. It's just a female. And Corvin got an item that killed all the gods and blew a hole in the moon. Drekik prays to the gods to see if they're all truly dead. In meditation, remembers a carefree man on a horse. You can never truly kill a god. If someone still believes in them, then technically they still exist. And apparently, Ran went, I did say that, didn't I? And that's when my mind was blown and realized my friend Cole from back in my session 1 was Ran. And yep, that's my notes.
And you brought him back once again.
Yep. And I now know that in order to bring Ran back, just one person has to believe. And that's crazy.
I like the idea of Drakik just being like Ran's like life support system. Just like constantly.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, he is a little special, that one.
I also know that he's not a baby, actually.
Well, not anymore, at least.
We've also got here, this is where we were introduced to the Moonseeker, who has the tattoo of the moon cycles.
Follow. Ignore that it says not an orgy.
Wow. Bubblegum gang, welcome.
I'm trying to convince everyone it's not an
Fucking
orgy.
Welcome to the orgy, Bubblegum gang.
Not an orgy. Oh boy. What have I done to myself?
Yes, so the Moonseeker, who has the moon cycles under their left eye, and also Celeste was able to phone home.
Yes,
in this
we
session
have a
without
very appropriate GIF as well for that.
Yeah, I was about to say that timing could not have been better.
Yeah, right when you said it, it popped up, but now it's gone again. It'll be back in a few seconds, I'm sure.
Yeah. So that was an interesting one. She found out, as she knew all along, that her sister was evil and a terrible person.
The party. Oh no, the janitor. Anyway.
That's the next episode.
Yeah, that's the next bit.
Yeah, he's just reading the gift.
So she found out that her sister staged a revolution and killed the Fae Council. And she tried to contact her father, who is in with the Fae Council, and she got a very cryptic message saying there's only the Feywild left, we are all a part of it now. Which was interesting. So she's got to kill her sister now, there's no choice. Oh no.
Oh well, family squabbles.
Hi Bubblegum, welcome to the chat.
Everyone has family issues.
5 seconds of phone call with your dad, and then you just instantly wants to kill your whole family. I mean, your sister. Wow. There you
go. And I believe this one I've been pacing through is also where Jean learns his mother passed away in the future, but she held up strong.
Each of you learned that there was something that had definitely changed in the future, and one of the things was Jean had, unfortunately, to go to her grave when she was passed away.
Yeah, we're not playing tonight, unfortunately, Bubblegum Gang. We do have 3 streams coming up on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, though.
Halloween.
If you want to join in for our Halloween special. But we also have our Discord as well, where we like play games and share ideas and things like that about D&D. If you wanted to. Oh, look, it popped up in the chat.
Thanks, Nightbot.
Yeah.
So yes, you realize that Sean's mother had passed away in that episode. Dreki realized the god thing, but then brought Ron back. And Ingwe realized that his elders had left the building. And Celeste realized her sister was like, I don't know, Genghis Khan. Pretty much.
Gang Elf Khan. No,
Wah,
not
wah,
right.
wah.
Nope, I'll see myself out.
How do we kick someone from the?
Oh, I know how to kick someone. I've done that before. Yeah, that was pretty much what happened. It was a lot of conversations about you understanding what's going on in this new world and what the consequences of failing your job would be. Yeah, pretty much. And then you met a new friend, Dendron, the janitor.
Yes, the janitor, which the meme was about.
Yeah, and I feel he was just destined for a long life, and that's so amazing that we can give that to him in the game. It's just a favorite NPC that's gonna live forever. And yeah, I don't think I have any more notes for episode 46.
Yeah, the only other thing I think I have, which I may have missed if someone else mentioned, because I was trying to read notes and listen to notes being mentioned at the same time. But we also visited Vartex to see if he was affected or something like that, and he seemed to be in the same boat as us. And he's just like, "What? What do you mean?" Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't seem to understand what's going on.
Yeah.
He was still in his pocket dimension.
Yeah. It's very interesting to me.
It's a interesting. Yeah, I noticed that actually, like a mechanical magic element, like how trapped he is by his own decision to be trapped.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not able to really do much. He's just kind of sitting there waiting until you kill him.
It gives both me and John more confidence in how secure he is in that room.
Or that he came,
100%.
because then that's next episode. But when we go back, none of the things come back with us too. That's another important magical element.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't here for the next episode either, so we didn't keep the map that we drew of our map.
It was a different one you drew. The one you drew originally was of what you already had, which ended up getting stolen at one point. But we haven't gotten to that yet.
So we didn't draw our.
So Celeste did. She drew down the completed maps, but whether or not that came with us, I don't think that's been a conversation yet.
That one did not. The only one that came, the only map you had of it written down that is still existing is the one that got stolen.
Yeah, which that was a couple episodes back.
And that's not complete either, because Celeste did not let Jean draw hers.
No. Yes, it's not complete, but there was definitely a lot of information on there.
Yeah, and it was two of ours, I think. Like it was Jean's arm and either Drekik or Ingwe. I can't remember.
That was like half the map, pretty much, or half of whatever you had. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's pretty much that episode then. So I guess we'll jump to episode 47. Kill your darlings, which is an interesting writer's term. If anyone knows that term, good on you, but it means that you have to butcher your own stories when you write them. That's what that's from.
There you go.
There you go. Anyway, so who have some interesting notes? Nope.
27 is my shortest notes in the last. Sorry,
47. Wow.
Episode.
I
was meant to say episode 47 is my least amount of notes I've written in the past 20 or so episodes. It's about 7 lines, with the last one just being the Moonseeker reveal in all capitals, bold font, and exclamation points.
Which is also interesting because the GIF is actually right there.
There you go.
Timing tonight, lads.
That's very interesting.
Space Guy also wants to know when we're doing our anime beach episode.
I mean, we
51.
can, but I don't think I watched any anime except for Vampire Hunter D.
Trekkic OnlyFans.
Uh,
coming soon.
Yes, falling in
It
love.
depends when Celeste decides to try and light a fire with wild magic and rolls the
Yeah.
right number.
Suddenly, it's not that we appear at the beach ready for a beach episode. It's that we are literally transported to an anime with the beach episode.
Yeah.
Hey, where we going
All of a
now?
sudden, we've all got
Everybody
like
for now.
big
Come on,
eyes and like
Yeah.
pink bubbles floating around us.
Wilder versions
Massive
of our hair.
tits. We've all got tits.
We just break out into those surfy beach songs randomly.
What have I done? Why am I doing this?
Maybe we should start.
And then
with
we're just
like
like, now, is this a normal anime or an adult anime?
I think it has a different name.
we should do like a redeem like 500,000 chaos coins, like, and then we'll do anime beach episode.
Oh, boy.
Naruto, I think you mean a chicken neckwear type
Sure.
show.
Trekkic will show you his horn.
What?
What?
I think
What?
it's better if you don't understand, to be honest.
Right.
Does anyone have any actual notes? for-
I have
nothing.
very comprehensive notes for the next episode.
Okay.
48
Let
or
me-
47?
Let me
I
reenact.
don't know what number it was, but it's future past.
Let me
Yeah,
reenact
48,
how I
right.
was last session.
All right. So episode 47 though.
Oh,
The janitor dies. Goodbye, Dendron. He did not get his retirement plan. He was one day away from retirement, and then he took an arrow to the knee and fell into the lava.
Maybe took an arrow to the head.
Well, that too, unfortunately. You ended up actually managed to going to the Stoneward Academy, and you set up a trap that had apparently been there since probably where you are now in the timeline. And you ended up fighting a whole bunch of statues, some gargoyles, some imps, and some other random shit. And at the very end, the Moonseeker said goodbye to his father, which appeared to be someone in the group, but he was looking at John when he said it.
And John was looking at him with big old giant ape eyes.
Yes. At the way home, you also had another encounter. I mean, Celeste at least had another encounter with an individual warning her not to use their powers of unknown origin. And that is where that episode ended. So, what is your notes on future past, Ingwe?
Jacob's notes. Ingwe is very good at remembering and very intelligent and has it all up in the spiderweb. So just to delineate very clearly, this is Jacob's notes. Future past, no number. Back in Blightwood, left the Ed, saw a big thing being built. Fog rolls in. Cows, 12.
The fog rolls
Right, I
in.
think
I
that's
feel
it.
like I downloaded the
Bubblegum
wrong
gang.
version of this movie.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
That
I
was
think we're good.
6 hours. Just so you know, that's the total notes for 6 hour session done. Is it very clear to you all? What
Yeah.
Crystal.
Who's got episode 49
Right.
notes? I think we're good.
All right, let's jump on Rebirth.
Well,
I don't have any notes, so I can go from memory if you want and just wing it.
Thank you for the gift sub, Ugly Jester.
Ooh, thank you.
Thank
Oh, don't
you.
call him ugly.
it's in the name.
name.
It's in the name. So,
Jester.
just to show off, I also have some images here of the individual that you are fighting.
Oh,
And I got a little close up today of the model that we had wonderfully had supplied by.
Thanks. I hate it.
that's
We
awesome.
had supplied by our wonderful sponsor,
Miniporium.
Miniporium.net. And there's another shot from another side here where you can see the face. And thank you to Arnold Kemp for letting me use his monster, the False Hydra. And if you want to follow him on
Oh,
Goblin
God.
Punch Press, you can do that too. And his wonderful creation is truly terrifying. And I think the players are happy that this wasn't in a bigger city, which was very close to happening. If they had decided to leave this village, it would have gone somewhere else. afterwards.
I can appreciate the mini, but fuck, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
Like,
At
I
this
can
point, because this one is a small one, it only has one head. It has 3
Mhm.
heads in the game. It has more heads the older it gets. And yeah, I love it. I love it so
It's
much.
gonna
I
make
just
it's gonna make
hate
its
the
wife
thought-
Hydra very happy one day.
I just hate the thought that this is a baby one, so there's the possibility of an adult one still out there.
Oh, they're the size of cities if they become big enough. So
Oh.
So if you had not stopped it, it would have gone to Tor, the large city, and it would probably have been pretty big after that.
Yeah. Depends how they're birthed as well, I guess, right?
Well, that's the whole idea is that I think Arnold Kemp only wrote the general gist of what it does and
Yeah.
how it looks like, but adaptation into D&D is something you can do yourself. I added skills and abilities to this thing and stats that it did not have already, just to make it more interesting and more fucked up freaky. And to do the whole mind-boggling mindfuck thing, also it worked a little different than it usually does. I don't know how this creature normally would appear, but I have my own version of it, of course.
Yeah.
And yeah, in my world, I would say that it's probably something that resonates from goo.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I was gonna say. I'm like, yeah, I mean, if there is a mother of sorts, then there might be a big one out there. But also, maybe a wizard made this thing. Maybe it was born by dreams or goo. There we go.
Yes.
Look, it won't be the first time.
Yeah.
Something born by dreams. That sounds familiar.
We'll get
So
to
yeah,
that.
this is the episode where we came back to the fight we were originally fighting, and then this thing came out. Dead people came out of the walls. An old lady with a broom was fucking OP as shit. We stand. She's my next character if Celeste dies. And then I've got here written down 6 p.m. ice face, and I don't know what that means.
6 p.m. ice.
Ice face.
Ice face. 6 p.m. ice face.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. Okay, good. Yeah.
Oh, I know why. Because we were at camp. We were camping on the outskirts before we went in, waiting for it to be night. And I think the fog rolled in. And as one of us, I think it wasn't me, we were looking into the fog and we just see this face.
Oh,
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
That was that
Ice
creature that was
white
keeping an
face.
eye on you there.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
that creature's face that you see right there on the screen, looking at you, drooling.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we snuck in. A couple of us almost failed our wisdom saving throws, I think, but chat had redeemed us with
Some
their
help.
lovely inspiration.
Yep.
Managed to sneak through without forgetting ourselves this time.
I think that's a good interesting thing. I think in the future I'm going to make the viewers a god called Fortuna.
There you go.
Gives and takes away. That's very interesting. All right, I'll put that note down.
Yeah, and then we saw the villagers building this cart thing or putting these crates on this cart. I'm going completely off memory because I have no notes. And then we pretended to be under the trance and walked up to put these boxes on the cart. And then the villagers caught onto us, and I was just like, I am just going to wash my hands in the fountain. And John's like, okay, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. Lean in. I just stick my head in because, oh, no, that's right. I see the Hydra, its face in the fountain and retreats back. And so I just stick my head in and it's staring right at me. I'm like, hello. And then the battle begins.
Like picking apples.
John's just like, drag ignore.
Yeah. I could, yeah.
And that was a great start to the fight with half your health gone.
Yeah, I liked it. That was good. Yeah, that's pretty much you had a fight. There was a wall of cows that was summoned to do cow things. Yeah, and you ended up meeting the lair as well. And the deeper, fleshy womb of this thing's creation.
Disgusting.
Yes.
Ingwe
just
also
love-
realized that his friends that we came to
That's-
rescue.
Yes.
I played with the false Hydra in one of my sessions in my campaign, and I just love the fact that you can be in its lair, but it's not until you actually begin the fight that you realize the lair is disgusting. Until that point, it just looks normal.
Yes.
Yuck.
Yes, you're right, Celeste. Not Celeste, Laura. You're right, Laura. That this was also the episode where Ingwe found out that his friend had passed away.
Hi.
No more Barrow.
It was just the one that passed away, right?
Second,
Yeah.
that was the second.
Because there was one that passed.
One was already gone.
Way back
Yeah.
when Adam was still here, I think.
Oh, yes, yeah. Sorry, I meant in that instance, because there were the two
Yes.
in town, right? Only one of the two passed.
And,
Like,
but
Yes, you
also
didn't
there
find
was
her.
Not one left. There was another one that we didn't find.
yeah, last we saw, she was up top, right? We saw her helping with the barrels or something before we went down.
Yes.
But that was the last we saw of her? Yeah, okay.
Didn't see her since now.
Interesting.
And also the blue-haired
Eladrin.
Ladrin, thank you.
Purple head.
Also,
Oh,
you
yes.
guys kept mentioning this golden dragonborn.
Yes,
Oh,
that was Sean's wife,
Ah,
which
It
was,
was also-
humiliated in front of the entire city in an escapade of random shitty events that led to her destruction of her, how should I say, status
Modesty.
in society and modesty as well.
She dove out a window naked.
I think that's a simplification. So what happened was that they were going to get this stuff from their rooms, and Celeste did not know that Sean had a wife at this point. She was going to grab his stuff disguised as Sean. When she entered the room, she realized that he had a wife, and his wife was getting very frisky and were starting to build into some kind of romantic tension. And to avoid this, she cast a spell to summon an illusion of a spider
Spider.
on the floor, which led to the woman jumping out of the window on the second floor, falling down. Where Celeste, politely enough, cast Featherfall on her, so she would slowly descend naked in front of everyone in the city, where some would probably assume that it would have been a kinder gesture to just let her fall into the mud, and then a few seconds later no one would have cared, but instead she was floating for almost a minute naked. That's the
I
true
thought she was
cause of
gonna
events.
run towards the door. I didn't think she was gonna go to the fucking window and jump out. I thought she'd go to the hallway.
John, even when you're not yourself, your choices are questionable.
Intelligence 8.
Well,
I was
he's
method
wise
acting.
enough not to do that again. But yes,
Oh gosh.
that is very correct. That also happened.
That leaves us with our last episode,
I believe so, yeah.
Rebirth.
episode 49.
Which is
Rebirth.
creepy, but also heartwarming.
Yes.
Heartwarming?
Like, two of us had a really lovely, heartwarming romance.
Oh yeah, that's
story.
right.
Oh, I thought you meant about the vampire heating up his dinner.
It was two very different games being played at the same time.
Absolutely.
Very good one. Hey, if you ever want to rewatch an episode of like excellent split the party play, this is
Yeah,
like
last episode.
when people are like, "Don't split the party," they mean like for combat. When they're like, "Don't split," like no. Split the
We
party
didn't split the
always.
party this episode, but somehow
Oh,
mentally
yes!
we were on two different planes.
We were all,
We were
within
all
like 20
together.
feet of each
We
other.
were in the same
Yeah.
place, telling different stories.
Yeah, it was good. So funny.
If you ever want to watch all of what D&D can offer, this episode had everything.
Had a bit of romance, had murder.
Horny bard,
Yeah.
sneaky rogue. Raging barbarian that just wants to stab things. That
We
was
had
the
drunks,
bard.
we had idiots, we had.
Gothic horror in there. There was comedy. Like it was
That was some interesting
was a
moments. for sure.
rom-com.
Highlight it.
It was a
We should highlight-
bromance. Like,
Someone
there
If
should
you ever
we
like
should,
sit down and go, I don't know what genre I'm gonna watch this one because it's all of.
You'll pick one.
It's on every column.
Who has some interesting notes?
insane that I have no notes for this episode. I have 2.
Right.
I
I
have
have.
some.
I'll go first.
Okay.
Ingwe was weird in his sadness for his friends. Come to the inn for drinks. Ingwe speaks to the deaf boy in the graveyard who was happy with his job and wasn't affected because he couldn't hear.
Yes.
The only other notes I have is in my connections tab, which is Rudolpha the mayor and Lothorian Delit.
That's from Kronos. That's the guy in charge of Kronos.
You got this.
Thorian
No,
Deltunis.
I realized that I have spelt it wrong, and I was waiting for Tom to jump in there.
Just on that,
Sorry.
quickly, before we jump into any more notes, when we talk about split the party, to go back for a second, we also did very much split the party to like within days of each other. Like
Yeah.
at the end of last episode, we split the party very much so.
Yeah, that was a side effect of the situation. It was an interesting way of playing for sure.
I'm kind of glad we did at that point though, because I'm pretty sure if we didn't, the one that left would probably be very almost dead.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Well, or
Maybe.
one that stayed. Like someone would have died. Like I think in that episode, like that was really clear that like it was a Ingwe or Jean moment. Like definitely, because if Ingwe had come back, because he still had all the spell slots. Like I'm still like looking at my character sheet. I'm like cranking, and particularly because Jean still generally trusts Ingwe. Like if you're generally trusting fighter against a I'm gonna kill you spellcaster, you're gonna lose.
Yeah.
Yep.
Depends.
Are you
Who are the
referring
spellcasters
to?
and whose side are they on?
I was gonna
Like,
say,
However, it's not just the fighter that you'll be fighting; it's whatever's in the fighter's brain.
Oh yeah, true. But like Ingwe's plan before he left was he succeeded in his plan, which was turn John into a slug, fly really high up in the air, drop the slug, drop the spell just before the slug hits the ground, dead John.
Potentially. Let's go a little bit back to the start of this episode instead. So, the fallout of Blightwood was that a whole bunch of people had to figure out if they're going to stay, if they're going to leave. You guys had a whole bunch of money that you had a conversation about keeping or not. You decided to keep them. Lucky for you. There was a significant presence of the mayor suddenly, Rudolpha, who had presented to you a coupon voucher for 50% off a magical item in Kingshelm, which
John still has.
was rather odd as a gift, but who knows?
50% off $2,000 is pretty good.
I mean, depends on what you're buying. You also realize that the gravedigger was more than just a little human boy, that he was apparently extremely powerful, but seemed to have just forgotten due to Rudolpha's influence. But you didn't really realize much of that until Celeste broke into his house. At the same time,
yeah.
there was a romance brewing between Ingwe and Drekik, and Sean looked on like a father watching his 2 kids play with fire and gasoline. But for now, they didn't set anything on fire. However, Celeste did. Almost. Sneaking into his house, she realized that there was a murder room in the basement where bodies were kept, drained for blood, and probably disposed of in one way or another. And they seemed to be coming from the graveyard, where the young boy arrived, and with some sneakery, you managed to not get caught by the serial killer vampire in his house. You managed to leave, but you left a note. And shortly after your friends rushing to your rescue, even though it was a rather clumsy approach, you managed to vacate the premise without getting caught or seen, and eventually you all went to have a long rest, where you had a visitor. He just wanted to check that you were on the same page, to say it slightly, as he had somehow had some help from some wolves that seemed to have surrounded the majority of the city. Celeste had a pleasant conversation with this individual and decided that they'd just go both their own ways. For now. Next morning came, and you started talking about where to go. And Lily became a little more demanding than usual. And as Engway decided to poke and prod, she poked back, resulting in him having to literally fly off as an eagle, not to die. And he flew to Kronos and gathered some interesting information. Not only does the place not look the same, it seems to be highly militarized, and a lot of people seem to have been arrested for treason, including Mana. And there's a lot of weird individuals with face masks and red cloaks that seems to be flying around or walking around patrolling in the city. And that's pretty much what was in that episode, I think.
Yeah.
That is the end of our recaps.
I do want to say that in that moment where Ingwe made Drekik not drunk, and Drekik was suddenly able to see Ingwe through seeing eyes rather than drunkard eyes, and seeing all the. He was able to compute the grief that Ingwe was feeling before he dropped the spell on himself. And in that moment, Drekik actually sort of had a little bit of feelings for Ingwe.
Oh,
yeah. He realized Ingwe was much more than just a companion. He was an actual guy that he wanted to be around.
There we go.
There you
A
go.
romance is real. It's no longer a bromance.
I was going to say the bee is fading.
Yes.
At the moment, it's a bromance, but
We'll see how it turns out. Well, that was that part of this little recap. So, should we move on to what is your favorite moment so far? And we can say for the whole show. It doesn't have to be these specific 10 episodes.
This episode, recap.
This episode.
We learned about the volcano. That blew my mind.
Maybe
It
we
wasn't
should
just
have
the
our break
volcano
now
that
and then
exploded.
come back for fun stuff.
We can have a break
Yeah,
now
yeah.
if you want. Yep.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Let's have a short break, and then once we come back, we can continue on theory spinning and tinfoil hat theories and favorite moments and stuff.
This will be the best time for questions in chat if you got them. I mean, we've already had some awesome questions, but yeah, it's gonna be we're gonna be going full on theory mode. So
Yes, anything goes. There's no cow that has not been turned. Wait,
well,
Never
what
mind.
have I done?
we bring to you this commercial.
My name is Noractor.
Looking for a game to catch.
From stream.
Right. Okay, let's go on a break, and we'll be right back after that. Okay?
See you guys soon.
See you in a bit.
Hi! Sorry, I totally didn't see you there. I was too busy hanging out in our Monsters and Mayhem Discord server. Hi, I'm Laura, your friendly neighborhood gremlin, and today I'm here to talk to you about the Monsters Mayhem Discord server. The Monsters Mayhem Discord server can be found by typing !Discord over in the chat. Over at the Discord, we do cool things, like tonight's one-shot. That's right, the cast from today's one-shot were plucked from our Discord like an orphan off the street. So if you want to come and hang out and play Dungeons & Dragons, come do that. We also have not streamed one-shots if you don't want to be broadcasted to the entire internet. We also do that as well. Our mods run kind of one-shots and things like that. Or maybe you're looking for people to play your home game, or looking to form a group of players. Come do that as well. You can poach awesome D&D players from our Discord server. We allow poaching, which is really cool. Or maybe you're a gremlin, like me, who stays up way too late looking at the subtly glowing white screen, trying to finish quests in video games, and you are just left counting down the hours until you have to wake up in the morning, just constantly glancing at the clock and trying desperately to finish that quest before the timer runs out, and then you wonder why you're always tired because you stay up until the sunlight starts creeping through the window. If that's the case, we also have games nights every Tuesday. Come along and play group games with us. You also have the chance to win cool prizes, which is really cool, just for showing up. We have like a leaderboard, and if you show up, you get put directly on the leaderboard. And then if you're a pleasure to play with, or if you win the game, you get points, and those points count towards winning prizes, which is really cool. Or maybe you like dogs and cats and reptiles and llamas. I'm totally serious about the llamas. That's the thing. We have really cool photos of those all up on our Discord channel too. So come look at those. And food. Who doesn't like food? We have lots of photos of food. So if you like recipe ideas, come and hang out and look at those. And we also celebrate birthdays. If it's your birthday, we'll be like, oh, it's your birthday. You're awesome. We love you. So come and do that on our Discord channel as well. Or do you like dice? Can I tempt you with dice, maybe? We have this innate urge inside all of us as Dungeons & Dragons players or tabletop RPG players to collect dice and hoard them up like a dragon. And we post photos of those hoards and really pretty dice and links to where you can buy them if you want to strain your bank account. So come do that if you want to be tempted to blow your life savings. Maybe you play Dungeons & Dragons and have a really cool character concept, or tabletop RPG, really cool character concepts, and you want to share those character concepts with people who will totally nerd out with you about those. Come do that. Or maybe you have a home game and you have this really cool plot point that you want to talk about. Come do that. We really want to hear those stories as well. Just don't let Tom hear any of them because we don't want to give him any ideas, because for reasons. So yeah. Come hang out in the Discord server. Lots of really cool people. We're all really friendly, and if you're not friendly, you get a ban. So it's moderated. It's really active. Come hang out with us. We really want to hang out with you. So yeah, do that. Hang out with us. That's it. That's the ad. That's all I have to talk about. I mean, I can keep talking if you want me to. Do you want me to keep talking? I can. What can I talk about? I can talk about that weird growth that I found living under our kitchen sink. That's a cool story. Or I can tell you the story about how Tom found rats and they were like stealing his forks, which is apparently a true story. Like the fork thief. That's really cool. Or I could talk about the time in the campaign where we realized that the big bad evil guy all along was actually this guy named...
Monsters and Mayhem is sponsored by Miniporium.net, a huge selection of highly detailed miniatures for any tabletop role-playing game. Check out the beautiful miniatures, and if you use the code MAYHEM, all capital letters, at checkout, then you receive a 30% discount.
The following following ad read was written by artificial intelligence, also known as AI. We here at Monsters and Mayhem do not endorse any outlandish or nonsensical statements as written by this robot, but we hope you enjoy nonetheless. Hi there. Do you love Dungeons and Dragons? We do too, what a coincidence. That's why we created Monsters and Mayhem, the Twitch channel for all of your tabletop RPG needs. Our campaigns are sure to get your heart racing, and our other content is sure to keep you entertained for hours on end. So come and join us today. Do you have what it takes to be a monster? Subscribe to our Twitch channel to share the love and gain eternal power and immortality. With new videos every week, you'll be able to learn everything there is to know about being a monster. We've got you covered, so come over and join the mayhem. It's been a blast exploring all the gory details of monster mythology with you. I hope you had as much fun as I did. If you want to keep the fun going, you can use your Amazon Prime account to get a free subscription to our channel, or become a hero and gift a sub to another follower. Thank you for staying tuned, and until next time, stay scared!
You're back once again. We just needed to click things. That's the
Click
thing.
the clickety click.
I like that the GIF came before the fucking cameras. Never mind. Anyway, so what is everyone's favorite moment so far?
No,
I know that,
not yet.
No, no.
Not yet. Brandon, are you there, Brandon? Come in, Brandon.
Oh,
Space guy
Come
in
in,
chat.
Space Guy. Space
We
Guy.
are
This is
going
Houston.
to play the Halloween promo one more
Oh,
time after
yes,
the
we
break.
can do that.
Brandon, are you there?
Acknowledge
Come
your
in, Brandon.
present. Acknowledge your presence so that we may press play.
Space guy, come in, space guy.
Wait, have I still got that?
One small
voice?
step for mankind, one huge step for Halloween.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah?
He's there. Awesome.
All right, let's go to do that.
Moose, hello.
We are once again. Did you see it this time,
Did you
Brandon?
catch it this time, Space Guy? Did you catch it this time?
God.
We're not playing it
Easy
again.
there.
That's the last time.
All right,
Don't
one more
get
time.
another chance.
All right, one more time.
There is no more chances.
So, what is everyone's favorite episode so far? Shirok have shared that this one was his favorite episode because he had his mind blown.
A little bit of a joke, but also a little bit serious.
Well, secrets are secrets until they're not.
Yeah.
Well, my biggest what the fudge moment is still the big massive eye in the sky blinking out.
Yeah.
Because that was a thing before I joined, and I was looking forward to exploring it and everything, and then Bartek's just like, oh, I don't know. Okay, let's move on. I'm just like, what?
Well, it could mean several things.
Because I was particularly interested in the eye. Welcome. Goodbye, eye.
Well, it can mean several different things. You haven't looked into that part so much because there isn't really anything to look at now. But, yeah, that definitely happened.
Yeah.
I really like that as a concept though, because it's like different perspectives on the same event. Which, like, from Drekic's perspective, he's lived for 20 years, and for half of his life, the eye has been in this, like, it's a major event. And then from Celeste's perspective, it's like, oh yeah, that's a stupid thing. Oh, that guy played an illusion.
Been in this guy for 20 years or 10 years.
I was gonna say it only activated.
It started when you guys started fucking around with the legacy.
Yeah.
It was only up there for like a month.
Yeah, pretty much.
Unless Drekic's 2 months old.
He is wrong.
He is a lizard.
Of course I believe in myself. I am wrong.
Let's play a lizard man that thinks he's a dragonborn. I'm a water dragon. Anyway. Yeah, that's cool. What about you, Laura?
It's really hard to like pinpoint a favorite episode because I feel like it spans across so much. Like, for example, like our first episode, like meeting everyone and like getting all that initial like the rush of like all the the initial gameplay and everything was so fun. And then the stuff with Valentina as well, like the ball, for example, like that was really cool, and how we like fought death in like that room. That was a really cool moment. Like last episode as well was really good. Like we're talking about, the two juxtaposing like conversations that were happening at the exact same time in like the same scene.
Yes.
Yeah, I just love this whole campaign, the whole game. Like it's really hard to say what favorite episode.
Well, it doesn't have to be a favorite episode. It can also just be a moment.
Again, that's even harder.
That's fine.
I really loved the episode where like Jean was reunited with Derlin as well. Like that was really cute and funny, and like how John kept getting shown up by like his son. And there was like that whole like my boy's grown but is also still a child. Like that whole relationship was really cute. And now it's like my son's grown and is very grown and is now a werewolf in the future. Like that.
Apparently so.
Wait, what?
He turned into a werewolf in the fight.
Oh, you
I missed that.
Oh, there's a reason he was called the Moonseeker.
Oh, Derlin was the Moonseeker.
Yes.
Oh my god, yes, you missed that.
Yes, it was him. We just did the recap. I just said that.
Episode. How
I
did we
just
not?
Well, yes, he
We
turned
did
into a
forget to mention
werewolf,
the werewolf part, but yeah,
did some fighting, and then he eventually revealed himself to be Sean's son. Right before he got thrown back into the present day.
Scheißenfleisen.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, you also met Isa before. Drekig.
Did I?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes. 'Cause that was the
Moving on.
woman who left Derlin's room.
Yes, yeah, that's right. I was like,
right.
hey, who's
But no one
Isaac
else
again?
saw that, but you
Yes.
did.
Yeah.
And you would have
I
recognized
was
her, but you weren't there.
Derlin's best pal that day.
You were his wingman versus his father.
because of you, that turns into marriage or something close to
You're
it.
welcome, Jean. We were faithful from that day forward. I, as the cleric, knew that this was uniting for life.
Oh, I see before me potential in holy matrimony.
But yes,
I
that
heard
was
them doing
Isa.
it, and I went, "That's it. They're married now."
Because if they don't, I'll beat them with my stick.
Obviously, she's 15 years old, so it obviously looks a little different. But yeah, it was definitely her.
The medieval shotgun wedding.
And that was my favorite moment. I think when Sean found out that that was actually his son. That
Yeah.
very moment. That was cool. I'm surprised that he didn't put two and two together, and I'm glad he didn't this time.
Well, I mentioned it as a theory earlier.
I know.
episode prior. I was like,
I remember
it
you
could be
mentioning
that.
it.
But then
in the
there was
previous
something
episode.
else. Yeah, something else made me like wing off of that a bit, where I was just like, okay, maybe it's not, because that seems to make it less likely. I can't remember what it was, but there was something that made me go like, maybe not. Then it must be something else. But then yeah,
Well, it was a little vague. And he did make a joke as soon as you arrived, almost, that he was going to kill you all as a joke.
yeah.
Which is very in line with Dylan. But yeah, yeah, I think that's my favorite point so far, at least. There's been many great episodes, but I think that was a fun moment for me, at least as a game master.
I think my favorite episode, purely because of just, it was one of those instances where everything lined up without any intention for it to do so. And that was the two episodes, the episode where Drekik was first introduced. Because of everything that happened before, everything that happened during, and everything that happened after in that episode. Because before it was the instance where Jean sought guidance from the Stormlord and shit happened there. And I was like, oh, Lightning, Stormlord, all that sort of stuff. Then we met Drekik in just an awesome moment with the city attack and all that and the chaos coming down from above. And then we learnt of his allegiance to the Stormlord. And not only that, but that his father was the chosen of the Stormlord or something as well, if I remember correctly, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. And then, it just like branched off from there. It's like, well, and you've got these tattoos, and we met the, what were they called? The seers
Archidro?
of the city?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, yeah. There was that whole circumstance, which also then led to it was like 3 episodes chained together where the circumstances just were like golden D&D for me, like just A tier in all or S tier and all above. That went all the way through to the point where we escaped because of the mysterious wolf-like figure that came and pulled Ingwe. It was Ingwe and Celeste in the cage, right? Because Ingwe snuck in invisible. Yeah.
And that means when we were escaping the city and Cole was picking up the coins and I was leaning out the back drunkenly going, "Ah." I wasn't doing that to Cole, I was doing that to Ron. That's awesome.
Yes.
It is headcanon for me that Drekik has called Ron a son of a bitch, jokingly, at some point in his life.
Well, yeah. Very cool. So what's some conspiracy theories that you guys have come up with, or some weird things that you think may be true or not?
We're the bad guys.
Well, I still count so far, it's probably Celeste. Like 100 people did.
Out of the 4 of us, Celeste is the most evil, but we don't know. But as the 4 characters, we think it's Ingwe that's the most evil.
He's the one who deliberately makes the choices that seems evil, but Celeste is like, oh, I dropped something. I'm so sorry. It was a warhead.
I think
That's crazy though, because Jean has made the most active choices.
See,
Like
Ingwe makes
Ingwe's-
the most
Ing-
psychopathic decisions.
Yeah, he's a psychopath. Definitely.
Jean
It's
makes
sensible.
the most, that's a stupid decision, evil. And Celeste just unknowingly makes the bad decisions.
That's
I-
what I
I
find
think there's
really
an interesting here, yeah, something very interesting here. You all have some darkness in you that you didn't realize when you started writing your characters. Celeste can blow the world up, potentially, whatever is going on with her thing. Sean made a deal with the devil, pretty much. Ingwe is flirting with evil, literally, not even in any other sense, just literally. And Drekik will literally flirt with a man to get glasses for free. There's some
That's
darkness
actually
Recognizes his sexuality in evil ways.
Drekik's the worst character. Like, Drekik's gonna be the most evil, right? Like all the other
Weaponizing
characters are like
glasses.
epitomes of evil, right? Like Ingwe's the like Thanos, right? Like, oh, I think this is the balance. I'm gonna like kill half the population to save the world. And Celeste is like, I'm more powerful and I'm just gonna do what I want. And then I haven't thought about the consequences of like me casting this flame world, and then I've killed the person that I want to kill, but then like 27 other villagers behind it have died, and I just didn't notice that. And then Drekik's like, and John's like, I'm going to save my wife, so I'm going to make a deal with this person, who then destroys the whole world. But at least your wife's alive, because that's the most important. And then Drekik's like, do what my god says.
Those glasses.
That's never ended poorly.
I think it's funny as well because in Celeste's, like on the character sheet, she is chaotic neutral, right? She's very much like in the moment will do what needs to be done, like in the moment without a thought to, consequences. And I think in a way she reminds me a little bit of like Loki. Kind of like, I do what I want and I have all this power and like I'm just here to have like to do the things that I need to do. And her sense of morality is very like she has a very strong sense of morality in terms of what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah.
And that is, she thinks that what she's doing is always like good and correct and like the right way. But yeah, it doesn't always turn out that way, which I think is interesting.
Well, that's the thing as well, right? It's also like temptations can be, or characters can be led by temptations and other things, regardless of their character. People behave out of character for certain circumstances. That's how like the deal with Sean thing goes well, because he's lawful neutral in the sense that he's got his own guidelines and how he thinks the world should work and how he thinks he should live, and that's that. Let other people do their own shit as long as they don't hurt anyone, but otherwise he's got his own thing, so to speak. But when family is involved, fuck everything, throw it out the window. He's doing it for family.
That's fair.
Yeah.
John reminds me of that saying about good versus evil. Like, the hero will sacrifice you to save the world, but the villain will sacrifice the world to save you.
So I guess I'm the villain.
Like, John very much reminds me of that.
Maybe we are the bad guys.
Yeah.
But it's like those things too, where they're like, Hollywood movies, they have villains that make lots of sense, and so they have to like kill their girlfriend. So you're like, that's a bad guy, because otherwise everything he stands for is kind of sensible and my values. But he's the bad guy because he killed his girlfriend.
Make them ugly. Like in like Disney movies, like the villain has to be ugly, or else we'd like sympathize with them too much.
Yeah, I mean
that's like a lot of
Walking Dead. If you watch and you like Negan, I mean I like Negan, and he's pretty fucked up, but technically he's got a point. Everyone work together. If you fuck it up, fuck with the balance, I will murder you.
Yeah.
But of course someone had to have a problem with that. Damn heroes. Pesky kids.
Would have gotten away,
for you. If it wasn't for you meddling kids.
Yeah. But yeah.
But I'm really interested to see the party dynamic shift as realizations have come to. I think we're still in the very early ages of party dynamics. Like we're still kind of figuring out inter-party relationships, and I'm really keen to see where that goes in the future. Kind of once this, I think, like once this first arc, like is done. Like I'm really interested to see where we land after that.
Yeah.
Hardly any of you really know Drekik's backstory at all.
Nah. Yeah.
You spoke to Celeste about it.
A little bit.
I didn't really speak to any of them, so.
I feel like what was it? The party dynamic in that is somewhat shackled in this instance, and not in a bad way, but the deal that we organized and chose, I think weirdly enough the ability to lie is like in someone can or taking that away from them can also make that person worse in many ways. Because sometimes a small lie can just carry on with things, but when you can't, that's why I think if we are able to get rid of that contract, or we are able to finish that contract before the end of the campaign in some capacity or whatever, I think the dynamic will be completely different. And I think it's a weird thing in an interesting way, like a positively interesting way, that if we don't complete that until the end of the campaign, there is a completely different kind of dynamic that could have happened between the characters that may not be explored unless we do like like, oh, for fun we're coming back to these characters for like a one shot just afterwards. And it's like, but now our characters could be completely honest with you, and that's, or they could be lying to each other. That completely changes things.
I think Drekic's so used to just not lying that even if the contract is finished, he's just still not gonna lie.
Not gonna lie is a double negative, though.
That's the crazy thing about Ingwe, right?
He's not gonna not lie.
Because part of the thing that makes him so crazy to all you guys is that he tells the truth.
Yeah.
Because he's quite a wise character. So if he could lie, he would know John doesn't understand the difference between different kinds of people. So just stop talking about it. Like, stop telling what's in your head to the people that you're with, and then he'd be a lovable character. If he could lie, he's wise enough to do deception all the time, and be like, yes, family's important. You're a person, and you have legs, and you're more important than a pig. But Ingwe's like, we're not that much more important than a pig, and John's like, you're a crazy person. I don't trust you. But if he could lie, then he'd just not say that. Like, just not that whole concept of like going back to your roots. But also then, like Laura was saying, I think that I've done something funny where I've gone, Ingwe is a true, like a lawful good character that's been told that he can go out and be chaotic evil. You can do that because we want you to. That's going to strengthen your lawful good nature if you go away and do whatever you want. So you can switch alignments. However, as long as when you come back, you go back to being. So there's like a heart-centered alignment that you can be like, I'm just going to try this out for a minute. I'm going to eat someone.
Because why not? It was half spider woman.
So what are some theories that you have about something that you think may or may not be true?
I think you've confirmed already one of the theories that I have, which was Lily's not an arc that you'd thought about, like it was random. So like there's some of the things in the story that's like, we're trying to solve a puzzle. Like, Tom's come up with a thing and we're trying to solve it. And then there's other things that are like, here's a problem that we've given ourselves. And so the solution to the problem is a little bit more open because, like...
I think there's more to it than that, because she is not just a plot that is not intertwined with something.
Yeah, clearly you're intertwined because she's a titan and like.
But her existence came to be unknowingly to me when this all transpired, and I think it's a very interesting arc. It doesn't have anything currently that you can see more to it other than what you've already presented with. The only thing you know is take her to point X. Then we're done.
Yeah. So I can't see. I think you've planned for characters dying, and I can't see how we get out of the next phase without killing a character dying.
Okay. Okay.
We'll see.
Well, it depends on a lot of different things, and most of them comes down to choices. And how should I say? Cause and effect. That's all.
Note to self, next time we don't allow Ingwe up on watch by himself. Ingwe is the one who sleeps. We all take watch instead.
Well,
I don't think Ingwe's taken watch the last 2 times.
Well, Ingwe was not with us last time.
Ingwe hasn't
Yeah.
taken watch for ages or eaten anything that anyone else has provided for a while.
I think it's easier because Celeste can just take 2 watches quite easily.
Mm.
And then there was that one night where Drekik stayed awake and took a point of exhaustion to take 2 watches.
I don't think
Whatever,
Ingwe's going to kill people. Like, I'm not saying Ingwe's evil and is going to kill people.
No.
I think Ingwe's going to die.
We literally had the conversation. Ingwe was going to drop John out of the sky as a.
That's what I mean, though. Ingwe, I think you guys are going to kill him.
well, it will be interesting to see what happens for sure.
Oh, I don't
John's
think
wife,
Drekik's
or
going to kill
like-
you. I don't think Drekik's in the realm of killing you at this point.
There is definitely options and ways that things can transpire. I have definitely set things in motions, not just force you to do A or B.
Oh, yeah.
But
I feel like when we get to Kronos, something is going to happen. Lily's going to leave John's head in and go on her way, and we're not going to see her. She's just going to disappear
is that wishful
until
thinking?
like a few episodes down the track, and then suddenly it's really bad.
Yeah. I don't know if it's going to happen exactly like that, but I'm definitely of the line of thinking that next episode is going to completely shift the dynamic of everything. It may not be in a huge capacity, but it'll be in the capacity enough that it will affect things, especially for Jean, because of circumstances. But I think there will be an element of something in the group that will change across the board. Because I think it's very interesting you say that, Jacob, because I was thinking, I don't know how much longer Jean's going to last with everything going on. I think there's a lot of circumstances that are very interesting that are putting him in a position where even he's sort of like, well, maybe me dying is the best thing to do in this circumstance. So, yeah.
You said it in the last session. You were like,
Yeah.
oh. And like Ingwe's done it on a really flippant, this would be a funny thing to say statement for like maybe 4 or 5 sessions. Oh, maybe we should just kill John.
Yep.
And then John was like, maybe you should kill me.
Yep.
And it's like those two moments of a personality where Jean is the moral compass and is built up like what is right and wrong from an Ingwe that can't understand what is right and wrong because it doesn't make any sense. And John's a puppy and largely I love him, but like if his elbow's broken and we can't fix it, it's better to put him down and like have him suffer for a little bit.
I have a feeling, and this is like complete theory, just like, may not be anything, but I have a feeling that yes, Jean is very much in danger with Lily, but I think it's going to be because he has to make the choice to sacrifice himself to bring his wife back. Like, I have a feeling that's what Lily's going to say when she has said, your wife will come back. Yep, that's fine. Like, bring her back.
Jean's new character!
And I feel like it's going to be like a trade, almost. Like, John
John's
dies
new
and his
character
wife
is
comes back.
Jean's wife, and John's wife's
Ooh.
mission is to bring Jean back.
So you think it's going to be very transactional? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because I
something
feel like
for something.
yeah, I feel like it's definitely going to be something. Because at the moment, all she's asked is to be taken somewhere. But someone as powerful as this entity that found its way into the Dreamweaver or whatever, like, I don't know. I feel like there's definitely something there where Jean's going to have to make a choice. And I feel like he's going to be his own, like, worst enemy. Like, when it comes down to it. Like, I feel like his honor or whatever is going to be his downfall.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's interesting because I dismissed that because I remember one of the instances I believe Lily said it in a way that made it sound like you and your wife will be together again, but at the same time, what's that, for like a minute? And it's like, all right, now your end of the bargain or something like that. Like,
Or it's like he dies to be with her.
yeah.
Like, I will bring your wife back, and then he brings her back for a minute.
Oh, geez. Oh, that would be Then Jean goes full barbarian, just loses fighter classes and just immediate
Well,
barbarian.
I had ideas that I'm not going to do that I can disclose later.
No, I was gonna say. So that way the theories
yeah.
But that won't be for a little while, I think.
Yeah.
I think when you hear some of the other ideas that I had, you are gonna be scared for shit for the rest of your life.
I like it.
But yes, that it's all interesting theories.
I love it
Yeah.
when a DM is just like got a psycho mind.
Well, you have to be a little bit serial killer if you're Dungeon Master, I think.
It's my favorite thing. It's like a group I play with on Tuesdays. Whenever they ask me a question which I can't answer, I go, I don't know. And then I go, well, I do know, but you don't know. And then they're like, yep, cool, okay. And they always now say that to the point where they'll ask a question before I can even answer. They're like, well, you don't know, but you do know, but you don't know. And I'm like, yep, that's the life of a DM. Cool, all right.
What do you think? No, that's the next level.
Yeah.
What do you think's going on?
Yeah, literally last time I met one of my players, they turned to me and they're just like, so hypothetically, if you were a character in your world in the exact position that we're in, what would your character do?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But like, what would John's sister do? Or like the gods? Like they've already killed this thing that's in John's head. Like, how would there's so many other. That's what I can't see. That's when I say I can't see any way that one of us doesn't die.
Oh yeah.
Is like, it's so impactful to so many more powerful NPCs than us. Where it's like, there's people in the world that are like, that have helped us. Like, all that crazy, like, Sky Cloud organization. Like, there's so many organizations that are like, let's roll the dice here.
Jean has had some ideas which he has just straight up not said because he's like, I can't mention this because, like, this immediately puts ideas out there and then she knows. So, cool. So.
So you can't say
Well, everything that he knows, she knows.
That's why it's just like, fucking maybe just kill me, yeah.
But everything that she knows, he doesn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Very one-way transaction system there.
So, my question is: so we got a part of the God Hammer? Is that what the whole dungeon? No, we got
You
part
haven't
of the
gotten
key.
that. You got a part of the key to open the door to go through the labyrinth to then use the God Hammer to smash the shit out of this book.
But we don't know where the door is or where the other parts.
We
of the
don't
key
know
are.
where
You don't know where the hammer is.
anything else is. We don't know where the hammer is. We don't know where the next part of the key is. We don't know where the obelisks are.
No, we've got clues.
You do know some clues of where those keys are. It's in the paintings.
All of like the last known locations of them.
The
Like, we don't
paintings
know-
that I haven't seen.
So there was some paintings during the art exhibition that
I should have
depicted
taken more
the
notes.
keys. One of them
Jean and Drek
pointing
were
towards
like
the sky.
eating and dribbling sauce on their
Drekik was having an existential crisis.
Yeah, Drake, if you want to know, Ingwe spent a lot of time memorizing paintings. So if you want to know where the
Well,
things
Drekik
are...
wouldn't bring it up. But do we have an inkling of where we're going next?
We
I don't
have,
think
we
you
have
had
a
the
lead.
conversation because right now you've been forced towards Kronos at least.
Yeah,
But you do
After-
have leads for sure.
Okay. Cool.
Celeste knows where a lot of those locations are. So I think between her and Ingwe,
Yeah.
they could potentially.
Wouldn't it suck if Celeste died next episode?
Yes.
Oh well.
And
Oh,
No more
it was
obelisk
Melanie.
smashing.
I really liked Melanie. Oh well.
I
The janitor? Oh no.
Oh well. Oh, anyway.
I have a really fun character concept for like if Celeste dies though. So it's like it would be horrible and I would cry and it would be awful if Celeste dies. But also it's like the kombucha thing, like
I love
Guys,
Drekik.
I
I love
get
Drekik too much to let him go at the moment.
I love Celeste. But and there's like so much of her that I haven't explored yet that I'm really, really keen to. But also this other character idea is really fun. So
Yes.
see what happens.
That's the life in D&D. Sometimes it can be fun to have a character and die, and have a no character, but also just keep your character.
You can assume probably, as a Drekkic character, that the descriptions of the paintings are up in that spider web that Ingmar creates.
Ah, right, okay.
So Drekkic would have some knowledge, in the lens that Ingwe's put it up on the board with like words like spider web in the eyes sitting on the throne, demon with a twisted body, arrow pointing towards eye. That's the notes that are on the wall.
Right.
But like I've got in my notes, Drekkic recognizes a square piece similar to the vision of the key, scorched land. In my notes about where all the things are.
Yeah, there's definitely some pictures of some areas that looks interesting.
Scorched land.
One looks like scorched land, yeah. One
That's
looks like
previous
water.
to this episode, but we did actually figure out kind of like clues to where we need to find all the things if we trust the paintings.
Okay. Cool.
So you
As long
definitely
as we have
clues.
some lead.
That's just a pressing matter.
I mean, we know from the Halloween one-shot that's coming out that I'm not the greatest at following the trail in front of me.
That's right.
I played a detective in that episode.
Sometimes it's more fun to go after.
I guess another theory I have, to move a little bit off topic, is to do, I guess, with the God Hammer and the Sumerian wards. After their stint in the future, I have, I don't know, just like an inkling that maybe, yes, Vartex has something to do with the Sumerian wards being up, but also Cressida potentially, like when Celeste, because when Celeste left, that's when the wards went up, and so maybe it was like maybe Cressida and Vartex are like in cahoots of something, you know, because Vartex is from her home, and with like what she's planning on doing and like using her father to like climb the ranks potentially of the council. I don't know, there's like also a part of me that's like, maybe she's worked with him somehow to like get those wards put up so that people can't come in or leave.
I think it's the opposite. That that Celeste traveled to the same place that Vartex was in, and Celeste, even though she's like on the straight and narrow, is actually kind of, from Cressida's perspective, similar to Vartex. It's like she'd like destroy the patriarchy, bring it all down, and that's Vartex's whole shtick. But Vartex wasn't really like. Vartex was just doing it for the gigs, like he was just doing it for shits and giggles. Whereas Celeste might actually be like, nah, this is shit, let's bring it down. And Vartex, who's really powerful, might be like, yeah, that's fun, let's do that, I'll be your friend. And fuck all of her plans up.
Oh yeah.
Rather than the other, like the opposite, like Cressida's like, oh, wait a second, if those two opposite people team up against me with the same goal, then I'm done. Because she knows all the laws and she's learned all the things that I've learned, but not really because she doesn't care. And he doesn't care, but also doesn't know all the laws and the passwords and the passcodes and where the secret vaults are. But if they're together, then...
That's interesting.
Mm.
Yeah, because if she team up with Vartex, fuck, she'd be mad.
Yeah, Celeste
Very
would
much
hate
the
to team
enemy
up
of
with
the
Vartex.
enemy is my friend, like very much like.
Oh.
Both of those ideas have given me a theory.
Ooh.
What if it was instead that Celeste's sister actually did something with Vartex but betrayed them and locked them out in that capacity? So there was an allegiance, but ultimately was betrayed. Now Vartex is trying to get back, and unbeknownst to Celeste, one of his goals is basically to go and fucking kill her sister.
Shit.
BBEG, Celeste's sister.
Well, we already
E.g. Celeste.
Celeste and Cressida team up
Summon-
to destroy both worlds.
While in the Feywild, you're just summoning volcanoes on a whim.
Time shift. Dinosaurs.
You thought Lily the Titan was bad. Wait till you see Celeste.
And it's so funny as well because like from a religion point of view, Celeste doesn't worship the gods. Like in terms of like her upbringing, like the Titans, like the original OG before there were gods, kind of like that's who she doesn't worship them. But that's who she like acknowledges as the creators, I guess. So yeah, the fact that Liliax was once a Titan is also that's why Celeste was kind of like interesting. Not that that changes their opinion of it, but it's very much still like the origin.
So Ingwe in that sense is kind of even like, I know being atheist in a D&D world is stupid, but like Celeste would acknowledge that the gods created the stuff, whereas Ingwe would be like, no, they pretended they're powerful. This is like the difference between Vartex and the gods is negligible. Like the god of nature, for example, same as Vartex. Like nature just created itself because it's nature, and then this god came along and it was like, I created nature, worship me.
I hope you're gonna have a conversation with Leanna one day, because I think she's gonna disagree and then smite you.
One thing that I'm concerned about, which is completely off topic from what we're doing, is that in the world, for some reason, what are the fish people called?
Yes.
Tritons?
Tritons, yeah. For some reason, they're in force. And they're doing things. But we have no idea what.
And like doing things and then undoing them. So it's like, I'm going to take over the city and then...
And then they were gone.
They told us not to worry about it. It's fine. They were like, shh.
This is fine.
Okay.
And they teamed up with my dad.
Yeah,
they're doing
they
things.
You allied with your dad, and they broke into the most secure fortress, broke it, left the next day after apparently breaking into the Maritime Sea Law office.
And the royal family got murdered by someone.
Well, that's Aaron Crimson, right? That's been said was the guy who did that, who killed everyone in that thing.
So
with potentially help. With the Black Hand, with the Black Legion, sorry.
Because they were a what are they called? They were Golden Lion. Is that what they're called?
The Golden Gauntlet.
Gauntlet. That's it.
Yeah.
Like there are things happening in the world all around us that are massive, and we have no idea about anything.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because we keep going to like far-flung places to like
fight false
pick
hydras.
things up.
Yeah. It's also like the relevance to the characters in their goals, at least from Jean's perspective. Like, I'm super interested and keen to see what the hell's going on with the Tritons. Jean's like, that's a political thing that has nothing to do with me and generally will affect people miles away for now. So, until it becomes a bigger issue, we got bigger fish to fry. Pun not intended.
Literally.
Yeah.
I think it's also good to have a lot of this stuff going on and behind the scenes here and there. So when something happens later, you're like, oh, I actually saw this building up, but I didn't realize I saw this building up. And then suddenly you have a situation that you need to deal with because you didn't do anything earlier because it wasn't important and it wasn't on the periphery. And I think some things happen that has nothing to do with you and probably never will, but they happen and they affect other things that then affect you. So it's
I think because in the Karameshi estate way back when, wasn't there like a war map of the world?
Yes.
I think the Tritons attacking things is just maybe the first phase in what could be a bigger conflict.
Yeah. See, there you go. Yeah, I'd never made the connection between the two because I was just about to say, I'm like, Jean's concerned about that because he knows that's something to do with the homeland where you guys all are, where we are. But no, yeah, maybe they're related. There you go.
We have, as a party, we have no connection to civilization.
That's not entirely true. Like Jean's entire family is
linked
into this civilization.
But like moral sense, like Jean would be the connection to the kingdom because he's a kingdom person. None of the other three are kingdom people, And Jean's character is like my father. Like his character doesn't relate to the he's not a nationalist character, even though he's from the nation where this stuff happens.
Yeah, he's kind of grown up on a farm. That's more important, I think. It's more like a social economics of how he's been grown up around that farm, and the situation in his family has nothing to do with the environment. That the bigger things is not something I think have been on his periphery. I think that's something that's someone else have been dealing with because that's what they do. That's the feeling I have, at least.
So, but I wonder, right? Like from like a Drekkic perspective, like Ingwe and Celeste are kind of ambivalent because we're not from this world in different ways.
Yeah.
But like if Drekkic's clan and the Tritons take over the kingdom, then from Drekkic's worldview, even though he doesn't necessarily like that, that's a win. Like Drakkic's clan taking over the kingdom and his his dad becoming the king, even though he doesn't like his dad, is like a win.
He might not 100% agree with it, but wouldn't be 100% against it.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't like you killing people, but like, yeah, we've got a better society than you, and your society will be better now because we.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, potentially.
And John has the capacity to be like, yeah, this is better.
John, when it comes to nationalism, I think has some interesting views on it because he's not for it, but is also very for it.
Oh yeah,
under certain
Yeah.
circumstances. So I
He'd be
won't get
wearing
into
a
the
red hat.
specifics. So we'll see. I mean, not far off, but along those lines. But yeah, I guess the thing that I think would make it very interesting would be what if this war, this combat, this everything that goes on creates a rift between the kingdom and the people of Ogralan, because then there would be a rift in the party if it's a war between Drekkic's people and Jean's people, and how would that affect things?
It's tricky because it's in a position where Shannon and Ogralan itself is in a position to consume Ogralan if certain things potentially happen, because Shannon has always been a buffer between the north and the south, but it's always been at feuds with everyone on both sides. Where Ogralan is a more peaceful situation, unless you look at the other side of things where they're extremely violent. And where the I think it was the Blood Reaver, she was called, the general of the Ogralan army opposing the areas you were in, for instance, apparently have a dragon. Because that's the one that was fed the things.
In that cave that people died in
Yes.
and lost arms.
A dragon that's an adult dragon, but with a baby dragon's mind. Is that what
Yes.
we like? That's
Potentially.
The dragon on roids.
Just a baby dragon so much easier to mentally control than an adult dragon. So the fact that they have the power of an adult dragon with the mind of a baby dragon.
Yes.
Eat things.
Whatever that
Yeah,
means.
it's scary.
That's also a thing. There's definitely a lot of clues here and there for different things. Some of them, like I said, may not be important to you. But they're there. If you don't decide to go in that direction, it will still happen.
Put it this way.
Your dog's having a great time in the
There's
back.
a dragon in your house.
Breadcrumbs look like breadcrumbs and not the food they're on, so it's hard to link which breadcrumbs came from which dish.
Yeah. I think it's also
I
good that you
do
have a lot of
right.
different things happening, so you can't just be like, this, and this is going on. I like to confuse people.
Yeah,
And
it's all
sometimes the
happening
things you're told aren't
simultaneously.
true. Yeah, that too.
Yeah, that's the other thing. We can't lie to each other. Everyone and their grandma can lie to us.
Yeah. Exactly. That's interesting.
Especially their grandmas. Those filthy lying grandmothers.
You almost
Fucking
got beaten up by one.
Spe-
That's interesting. I think you're right. The next session is going to be an interesting for various different reasons, but I think it all comes down to what happens. Also,
Yep.
Sean's family all knows that he has a mind flayer in his head. Because, anyway.
Yep.
Place
Waiting
your
for
bets
Ingwe
now.
to,
Who's
like-
gonna die first? Ingwe or Jean? Place your bets.
Waiting for Ingwe to go and like try and bust Mana out, like by himself, like before we even get to Kronos. Like Mana, like when he went to the to Mana's place, and like, oh yeah, she's been arrested for treason. He's like, all right, go take care of this. I got some time to kill before these guys get here. Oh.
You don't know Ingwe very well. Ingwe isn't going to die busting Mana out. He's
To
going
get the
die
information
like try and get a book.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like to
Yeah.
get
I
the
want to read
information
that
from
book.
Mana.
That seems interesting.
What's more likely to happen is Ingwe, Mana's in jail, but that means the Dreamweaver's unprotected. Do.
That's not technically true, because it was handed over to Electrotorius de Tunis to disassemble and send into several places. So it has nothing to do with mana anymore.
Maybe he hasn't, and Ingwe just goes and gets the Dreamweaver and...
Well, it's another conversation.
Creates
more
a
likely what Ingwe would do.
duplicate Lily to like fight the original Lily.
Yeah, that's a good
My
idea.
tadpole is
If we
better
put
than
two
yours.
tadpoles in John's head.
Let them fight each.
This is a solution, guys. This is another problem.
It's like, how many personalities can we fit inside one person's head?
Let's find out.
It's called PTSD.
And this is how we make Moon Knight in D&D.
And then his other arm falls off and it turns red.
Pretty soon, John's gonna have to like roll a d6 every morning. Like, Shark's gonna have to roll a d6 every morning when he wakes up to see like who he is for the day.
Who am I
Like,
today?
Well,
It's funny everyone says that because one of the character ideas I had, which I sort of threw by the wayside, was a character who also was like 5-6 characters in one to know they were.
Yeah.
And I was like, that'd be interesting. Inspired by Jean's situation, so you know.
That'd be a
I
very
was like,
interesting level up system if you had like a character like that.
Oh yeah.
I take a level in wizard because I'm this character today. Oh, now I'm a barbarian.
I mean, it could be an interesting concept, theoretically.
Yeah.
It could be very confusing to play with, I think, but yeah.
Well, chaos was going on with our campaign, and then at the same time, I think I was watching Moon Knight, so I think my brain was very much just like, multiple personality character. Interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. I once played in Vampire live role-playing games in Vampire the Masquerade. I played an individual who was very much a nerd and a bookworm, but then sometimes he would turn into this guy who was just like a stone cold serial killer, almost like he was an assassin. And people had issues figuring out what was going on, but they didn't realize that I wasn't actually playing one character with personality disorder. I was playing a set of twins that were one we didn't know about the other. Because one was a vampire who kept manipulating the other one's memory, and the other one was just a human.
That's cool.
Crazy.
Well, obviously, because I'm playing the same character, no one would put two and two together. So like, oh, he's just crazy. But that was perfect cover for him because no one was going to come looking for him.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah, it was interesting.
I like it.
Yeah, it's complicated, but yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, do anyone have any other theories or any other interesting tidbits that they have picked up on?
I don't think so. I'm like trying to think back. This session was really good to like refresh my brain though, and now like next steps are clearer. Like, yes, we need to go get the key shards after whatever happens. Like, that is something that we should start mapping out.
It's like we should probably start focusing on this prophecy thing because we've seen the future now. It's not great.
Yeah.
That's an interesting point as well, because that what happened was that you went to the future because of what you did as a player. That was not something that I had written down anywhere that was going to happen either. That was another event that happened because of the situation. I've obviously planned for it slightly because I literally made this wild magic system. However, that gave you some sense of, how should I say,
Motive?
motive to actually go ahead with what you're doing, because now you can see this isn't just a joke, it's actually going to get fucked up real fast.
That's also another thing with the Vartex deal as well. Like, Celeste this entire time has been like, yeah, I can stay here for another like 600 years. But now that she knows like potentially in the future, her sister will destroy everything. She's kind of like, I need to get home at some point, like within the next at least a couple of years before this happens. Like,
Put
Yeah.
Celeste and Ingwe on the
It's also-
human clock.
It's a very if we think we've had 20, 30 years to fix this, whatever's happening, now we know that it's like we've only got a very short amount of time now.
yeah,
I
well,
mean,
because it was like
yeah.
15 years in the future, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it happened very like they've been in that situation for like almost 15 years. So it's like
Yeah.
it's actually happening. Like,
Yeah.
Like it's now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very imminent situations are going to change.
yeah,
So
it's not like at
there's-
some point in the next 15 years going to happen. They were like, no, we've been living like this for like a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested to see which directions you take for different things and which way you're going and if everyone's going to survive till the end and all the stuff. Of course, I am very excited. There's definitely enough information and situations that can arise that can give you something interesting to do. But I'm excited to see what's going on. There's so many things you have not even touched on yet that you will find interesting later.
Yeah.
So many people we haven't touched on yet.
Well, that's how you end up in jail. Bow, wow. Just look at this one right here. That explains everything. Anyway, not that one, the other one.
Checking 24/7. No
That does
views,
explain
just
things,
And this
I'm
one here
kind of
for
like
Ingwe.
depressed now that we've got like 2 weeks into our next game again.
Yeah.
But the Halloween, episode will
Halloween
be good,
special.
hopefully people enjoy that. But yeah, we've got a little bit. Guess it gives Tom time to plan our untimely demise.
And then in 2 weeks, hopefully, we start our new secret project for next year. Woohoo!
Ooh, secret project, secret.
New
Shh.
secret projects.
Very interesting. And I have already started writing a potential future campaign. after this one.
Oh my god.
He's already given up on us. He's planning to kill us all. Rocks are
Oh.
about to fall from the ceiling.
I didn't say anything. I mean, you could potentially play. I don't think you can play the same.
The rocks
character.
are
I think it's
falling.
going to be confusing, but yeah.
I've got my
Okay.
character plan for the next campaign.
Well, I think the next one is definitely going to be very, very different because it's going to be in a new world where you don't really know much.
We don't know what the new world's gonna look like. It could
Nope.
be a fucking hellscape.
It'll be bigger than the one you've already been in. I can tell you that.
Oh, cool.
This
I
one's
approve.
pretty big.
I have
We haven't
created
even
the
explored
continent so
everywhere.
far. A giant continent.
Hell yeah.
So if you look at what's it called? The official one. What is it called?
Or Epidos.
No, not
Map?
mine. The
Faerun?
original DNA.
Faerun.
Oh, Forgotten Realms.
Forgotten Realms. If you look at Forgotten Realms map, that's the size I was going for. So it's
Nice.
pretty fucking huge.
Yeah.
But it also means that I don't have to make another world every time we make another campaign. If we're going to continue, I can just pop you in another place.
If you ever want to make a literal moon-sized, as in 10,000 kilometer circumference planet, I have all the measurements if you need, so just let me know.
Done.
What would I
Ground
need
fire.
that for, except for if I made a Death Star?
Well, if you're making like a map of that.
Next
Are we
campaign.
going to
I'll do that
space?
I've
already done that.
I just did the math for my map and worked everything out. So 1 pixel equals 1 mile on the map.
That is insane,
So-
and I thank you. I don't know if I'm going to need that.
I'm just saying, just in case.
Well,
One pixel, one
Naruto, you did
pixel.
mention if you're going into space, how are you going to get to the moon?
Fly.
Hang on. I got an answer for this.
Oh, it's because you missed it. Because you missed the paintings. One of the paintings was a painting of the moon.
hmm
I can show you the
And
world.
someone offhandedly was like, "Are we going to the moon?" I was like, "That's ridiculous."
If we got 50% off magic items, let's go get a magic carpet. Fly to the moon.
Definitely
hasn't
like
even told you
50%
guys
off
about
magic
that yet.
items. Let's pool all our money and just buy the most expensive one.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
Spaceship, and away we go.
Well, you have to find one first.
Is there
And that's
trees
where
there?
Spelljammers come out. So,
And I wrote that before Spelljammer came out, before it was even mentioned. Fuck these people.
I was doing space
Stealing my
before
shit.
it was cool.
I was doing space before space was a space.
I wrote my space one shot before I knew Spelljammer was going to be a thing. So
I remember
screw you.
in year 8, sitting there in RE class and inventing Pokemon 2 before Pokemon 2 came out, and then they were all the same as the Pokemon 2 that we wrote.
They stole
Like,
your
we're
ideas.
super smart, or Pokemon super derivative. But
They were looking.
they were the same.
They were looking at your school security cameras, looking at your drawings, going, yes, note that down.
Like,
Sometimes I
like
really feel like that. Like someone's watching my.
reminds me of a conversation I had literally in like high school in like year 8, where one of my friends was convincing me that she came up with the phrase "got milk," and then like they stole it from her, like the "got milk." It's like,
I think it's called the three monkey. No, it's not called the three. Something with the monkey theory or something that it just depends on how many people you are. Someone's going to come up with the same idea somewhere else in the world. If there's
Oh yeah, where they're like, if you've got 1,000 monkeys in a room to like type up
1,000 monkeys.
typewriters, then do Shakespeare.
Yeah. Also, if everyone has random thoughts all the time, eventually someone's going to do the same thing.
See,
Yeah.
that's
With
why,
variations.
That's why it's all about the people that do the ideas.
Yes, I was about to say.
Yes, which is a problem. Because I don't do them.
it's like how we had that.
If you're not a straight white man, then
Well,
It's like a year and a half ago we were having a conversation about sending a D20 into space, and then we saw like 2 weeks ago someone did it, and we were like, oh.
I
We should've done
forgot to
this.
mention that, but we literally had that conversation
Yeah.
when we started streaming.
I could
Before
do
we
it.
started streaming, about how we could send a set of dice into space and get the astronauts to roll it as a fun little kind of gimmick. And then someone just did it like last week. But they flew it in space themselves. I think.
my next idea for all those people looking at buying property, want to start a cult? Just putting that there.
All hail the cult of Ingwe.
I've done the math.
All hell Clipto.
I've done the math. It checks out. You want to be in my cult?
Everybody sacrifice your grass.
Depends on how if you have dental.
No, you can live and you can leave you can check out any time.
That sounds like Hotel
You can never
California.
leave.
That's not a cult, man. That's a membership.
That is a death sentence. Anyway, I don't know if we have anything else to mention tonight. If not, I think that's pretty much it for today. Thank you everyone for joining us for some madness as usual. I'm not sure if we should raid someone today or if we should leave that one for tonight.
Let's do it. Let's raid.
Let's raid then.
Raid.
So let's roll for raid.
R-A-I-D. Time to
Raid.
This guy.
17.
D&D Beyond open.
I don't have my dice out this session.
Oh
I would
no.
like to show everyone my true face without my color correction.
Oh yeah, let's see.
Ta-da.
You're like what's her name? Like
Loki.
Violet from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate
From
Factory.
Oh, yes.
So,
Very-
I don't know
so
why.
Narokta had an accident. He accidentally mixed some purple paint with his shampoo.
I have children and we were cooking in the kitchen.
Well,
We
I
made blueberry
probably-
pie all over my face.
called the authorities. An alien. I got a 14.
I got 18.
I got 12.
Night, ugly Jester.
It's Lola.
Good night.
You said Shenanigan?
Ah,
Goodbye,
even my
Jester.
green screen's blue.
What happened? I think your camera must be like dogging.
Well, I think my camera is just having a spaz attack tonight.
Well, just blame the camera.
This camera. I'm normal. Whoa, it's crazy.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's lagging a little bit more than usual, but yeah.
That's because of my color correction.
No. You're
Laura's up.
actually an African American man. Is that what you're saying?
What?
Your color correction on your camera.
Let's quickly move on from this conversation before things get weird.
Raid. Who we got for raid?
Just
Like
gonna
those reporters this week that
just gonna
that
disappear now.
They got censored.
All right. now you can't. You don't know who I am.
Did
Who's
someone else
that
see
Pokemon?
story?
He looks
No,
like
like-
mayonnaise.
Radio presenters like got cut off, and then like they got let back on, and they're like, "Why the hell we get cut off? I'm calling my lawyer!" Like, and then they
God.
got cut off again.
Wow.
But they're like, there's a like radio stations hire people that's called a censor now, that like that
Yeah.
radio shock jocks have a person that can just be like, nope,
Beep.
Yeah.
and beep them. Like that's what that usually happens. They're like 3 seconds ahead. Hear a
Yeah.
swear word, press beep. But also have the power to be just like nope, and just like shut off their whole show. And that happened to radio presenters this week, where they were like interviewing Alan Jones, and the censor was just like, nope. And then they came back on, and they're like, I can't believe they shut us off with like censoring our interview with shut off.
They tried to get away with it.
One for those meddling kids. All right, who we got for raid?
So to raid, we have the House Rule, who is on episode 10. Of, I don't know if it's the campaign or if it's the episode name, but it is called The Part with the Dungeon, which I think is quite cool. Then there's
the dungeon.
Sparhawk Games, who is on campaign 2. Group name to be determined, it is called, which I also think is quite funny. There is Dreaded GM doing Storm King's Thunder, episode 27. And there is Valiant Odyssey doing Dead in Thay, level 9 code giveaway of some kind. And then there is the Eldritch Scribe, Kingslayers, episode 32. The House of a Madman, and then we have undeniably Remy, who are a group of VTubers who look like they're playing D&D. It's in the D&D section. Deep
Probably just talking
Isolation
about
section
hair.
2, Dungeons and Dragons. That's what it says. So I'm
Just
assuming
talking
so.
about hair and shoes and text.
Let's go over to the house rule. So
house
the
rule.
part with the dungeon. I would love to go and swing in Valiant Odyssey for the giveaway, but I don't think we've raided the house rule before.
No,
So
I
it'd
don't
be
believe
fun
so.
to go over and say howdy ho, neighborino.
You got a cup of sugar? No?
Can I borrow a D20?
Brown sugar.
Some sugar.
You say,
Would you like some sugar?
I'm just
I
very
got
curious
some
if you guys are
sugar for you.
referencing what I reference with that, or if you're just saying that for the sake of saying it.
I'm not sure. The only thing I can think of when Narocta says that cup of sugar thing is the Men in Black thing, where he's like literally drinking sugar water.
So there's also a scene
I
in
remember
Bad
that.
Boys 1 where Martin Lawrence goes into the house and he's just like pretending to be the neighbor from the door.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. I love
Anyway. Sweet. Raid is loading.
Awesome. So don't forget to come back this Saturday, Sunday, and Monday for Acts 1, 2, and the finale of our Halloween special as well, which will be streaming 7 p.m. each night. So come on and join in that.
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah.
amazing.
Catch you guys next time. We'll be on
See you next time.
same bat time, same bat channel.
Same Batman.
Yep.
Let's just raid him in chat as
Same
well.
What's this
Robin.
raid him in chat? Raid now.
Bye.
Bye.
We're still going. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.